Go for it. Hold on. Good afternoon and welcome into Varsity Media's live stream broadcast of the Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase. My name is Ben Turchin, and I'm proud to be joined alongside my colleague Joel Balthaser for this one. And Joel, this is a great event, the first of its kind, thought up by Mark Vidiqor and some other coaches around Rochester, New York. This is an opportunity for the athletes of New York State, the football players from Buffalo to Long Island, from Jamestown to Albany, to showcase their skills, and it's going to be an exciting day.
Yeah, this is such a great event. Hats off to Mark and his staff on putting this together. Such a great turnout, such a great opportunities for these kids all across the state to showcase their skills. So we're ready to get started. Hope you're ready to get started, and we're going to start shortly.
And what this is about, folks, if you're just tuning in, you have an athlete, you're following along the state, this is about New York, and New York needs some visibility. New York has struggled at times, and this is our chance for the state to show that there are athletes here all over the state that belong, whether it's Division I, whether it's Division II, or whether it's Division III. Come look at the state of New York and see the athletes here. And Joel, you and I cover high school football from Rochester to Long Island, and we can tell you folks that there's talent here.
There's talent all over this state, and you're going to see some of it here. We can't wait to talk about some of these kids because there's so many big-time players, there's so many hidden gems, so we're really looking forward to seeing these kids out here and being able to share their stories with you guys.
We're going to have interviews with players. We're going to talk to coaches. And we're going to start with the founder of Prospect New York State, Mark Vidiqor, get his thoughts on how this all started. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back with more right after this. Welcome back, Ben Turchin and Joel Balthaser here for Varsity Media at the New York State Prospect Power 50 Showcase, the first of its kind. And with us, a good buddy of mine and the founder of Prospect New York State, Mark Vidiqor, the head coach for the Fairport High School team in Rochester, New York. Mark, first of all, thanks for joining us here on the live stream, and congratulations on getting this going.
Hey, thank you for being here, and thank you to you guys at Varsity Media, Ben Turchin, you guys, your staff. All the work you guys have put in that nobody knows about, leading up to this has been extraordinary, to be honest. And it's been noticed, it's been retweeted, it's been put on Instagram, and the kids are eating it up. They love it. And so it's a shared thing now, Ben. It's a shared thing with Varsity Media. I really feel like this is not a one-guy thing. It never is. The team sport like football isn't. And I really believe that Varsity Media and our staff here, I think has helped put this event on the map. So we appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah, and thank you, Coach, for all that you've done to put this on. This isn't just something you just thought of. This has been in the works for a while. Can you talk a little bit about why you wanted to start this event and some of the planning that went into it?
I've been coaching since 1998. I was a player here. I grew up in this state. I came from a town, small school football. Good old red jacket, Shortsville, New York.
Yeah.
But no matter where you're from, small town, big town, city, rural, suburban, if you love football, you love football. And there's a lot of people across the country that love it and that do things differently when it comes to recruiting. And so over time, watching how New York State athletes were getting recruited, I thought, you know what? I'm not a complainer. I want to know, what are other states doing and why are they doing it? What are their methods? You know, I'm a reverse engineer type of a guy. I want to know really what's happening in those states. So it's taken me a little time to research what they're doing. But one of the things that they do very well that we are trying to do today is that they feature and showcase their athletes in a way, you know, that everybody can access. So this is free for our athletes.
Right.
That's so important that people understand that. Nobody's making, you know, a cent working here right now doing this. So, and these kids, their parents pay gas money to get here, you know, but just giving everybody equal access is something that other states do a good job of. And they feature their athletes in different really large companies, show them, and New York State's is for the most part ignored in those media outlets and different things. And so having a showcase is one part of the process in improving recruiting. There's a lot of different levels, believe it or not, behind, you know, off the field, academic improvement, test taking improvement. In general, training for an event like this. You know, when you watch these 40-yard dash drills, and you watched, the 3-cone, the agility, you could tell the kids that trained, and then you could see the ones that maybe didn't spend time doing that. So this today was meant to be a teaching tool, but there's a lot of layers when it comes to improving, you know, recruiting in New York State. We just believe that they deserve it. You know, so whether you have it doesn't matter what your background is. We believe that every kid deserves a fair shot.
I want to talk about New York versus America. This is one of the reasons that you started this in speaking with you. New York, I think I want you to share with everybody some stat about the population of our state versus where they are. Well, I don't put you on the spot, but I believe I remember you telling me the population is like 4th or 5th largest in the state, but recruiting-wise, maybe you could talk about that, how New York doesn't get the same amount of looks that maybe some of the other states get, but we have athletes here. Talk about that.
So we have 600 high schools participating in football. And right now, you know, at a showcase like this, you would predict from some of the top athletes in a state that has that many programs that there would be, you know, a couple dozen or more kids already with offers, but there just isn't right now. You know, we've got some guys out here that have had some offers, but, you know, when talking with our player personnel volunteer today, Brian Hawkins, you know, he's in a little bit of shell shock. He said, Coach, does this guy have an offer? Does this guy have an offer? Does this guy? No, they don't. So, you know, I had a feeling that might happen. And I knew that just we had to get these guys to this space. You have to believe in the vision of getting them there and then taking these lights, shining them on these kids and letting it be what it is. You know, you're born in another state. You're not a different person. You're just in a different state. Right? Do they do things differently than we do when they coach? Sure. Do they play a few more games? No doubt. But that doesn't mean that we don't have high quality young men that play the game well and in my opinion, really high quality coaches that nobody knows about. We're here. We've been here for a long time. We've been here forever. Again, cities, your rural areas, suburbs, wherever you come from, there's great coaching. There's great kids. So yeah, it's a massive state. And you know, I truly believe that we got it. We can do this. And so I don't see, you know, that's the other thing in our state, right? We are so bent on competing with each other during the season. We want to win the sectionals. We want to win a state. Well, we're on the same team when it comes to this game right here. This is one New York State team. So I'm really proud of these guys, these coaches, and everybody for coming out and doing that.
Yeah, I mean, just hats off to them for all the work they put into. And you talk about the camaraderie and all one team today. Have you seen some of that so far with the interaction of some of these kids? I mean, top kids across New York State coming together, different backgrounds, different teams. Have you seen some of that, camaraderie between the players?
I've seen some of that, no doubt. I think they're excited to be here. You know, I think some of them are a little nervous when they first got here, but I think getting them together in the beginning, having a little talk with them, and letting them run a little bit and move. I mean, you know, a kid from Long Island shows up or New York City and shows up, sees a kid from Rochester, and he's like, man, this guy's a dude. Like, that's the same thing as a kid from Georgia or from Florida who shows up and look at it. People are people.
A lot of times high school kids are in their own bubble. I remember when I was a high school kid, and I'm from Long Island.
It's a great call.
I didn't know that there were other parts of the state that even existed. And I was in my own world following the local schools. So just to follow up on what you just said, I think there's a lot of truth to that they're coming here, they're getting introduced to other athletes that are great.
Yes.
You know, we'll talk about quarterbacks from Canisius, we'll talk about quarterbacks from Plain Edge, that's Buffalo, that's Long Island.
Yeah.
You know, and we see it right here. We're going to show everybody throughout the course of the afternoon. We'll interview some kids and we'll learn more about them. But we see it here as the day has started, that they are already starting to talk to each other and learn a little bit about them. Mark, I want you to tell the people that are watching right now, what can they expect the rest of the day? What kind of drills are we doing? Obviously, we have all the positions are here except for special teams. We don't have kickers, we don't have punters, but we have all the positions on the field. So what can the viewers today see? What can they expect? Talk about the drills, everything, soup to nuts.
So we started with a combine, an instructional combine, the 40 and the agility, and then we moved into an indie period, so an individual position teaching period where our coaches, 2 coaches per position, get the chance to work with these athletes, prep them, give them instruction, and try to help them improve their skill while they're here. It's not just a showcase. This is meant to be more of a camp, and then they get the chance to showcase their talents and their one-on-ones at the conclusion of their indie period, which is coming up here in about 5 minutes, so I'm going to need to be over there for that. But
we'll
anyway,
let you go.
So you're going to see that. So right now, the wide receivers, the tight ends, the defensive backs are finishing their registration process. So that should be a good time for them. They're taking their wingspan, their height, they're taking their weight, and doing a variety of different things, hand size, all this stuff at a college coach. What are the small measurables that people don't know about this kid? You know, we're finding kids on our database that I know a college coach doesn't know about. So we're hoping that just some other measurables that we find here, you know, will help them. So we're going to see that. The one-on-one's going to be exciting. You know, I mean, the indie periods are fun. All the other stuff is great. I love the instructional stuff, but I'm very excited for the one-on-one.
Before we let you go, are there some kids that even Joel and I should be aware of today? I mean, look, we don't want to shortchange anybody. Everybody here today is a great athlete in their own right, but we do know some kids have already gotten some national looks and some offers. So can you share with us who some of those kids might be that we should keep an eye on today?
So today, Nathan Carter has an offer from Army, and Nathan Carter ran a 4.38 and a 4.39 40-yard dash, and nobody really came close to that today.
Wow.
And so he's the real deal, my man. And he the way he trains, and his coach Gauze, they do it right, and it shows. He's prepped. He was prepped for this, man. And so he stands out. There's a lot of guys that stand out. I mean, you got Christian Vayhue, who's just spinning the ball. His torque, his hip torque, is insane. When he goes to throw the ball and release it, it's big time. It's big time. And he's a 2021 6'4", 210-pound kid. We know why in the Midwest he was the top quarterback out at one of their combines they had out there recently that no one knew about him.
Right.
And it shows here today. You know, and I tell you what, Dan Villari can spin it. And that's a big guy who you can tell by the way he carries himself. He's fearless. I can see him on tape. That quarterback is a dude. You know, Tyler Sikowski from Aquinas is showing some good stuff early on. I mean, I haven't seen these guys in one-on-ones yet, but you know, with the linebacker spot, we found a couple of kids that, you know, no one will know about. Noah Bowens from Eastridge has been killing it today, and no one knows who he is. You know, he's a quiet kid. You know, Coach Jobson out at Eastridge does a great job with those guys, and he's just crushing it. You know, instincts, power, torque out of his turns. He stands out to us. Stephen Mahar from Aquinas, 6'6", 220-pound tight end that can move, man. He can move and catch the ball. And this is the first time I've actually seen him, you know, up close and personal. You know, there's a bunch of those guys. There's some huge offensive and defensive linemen that I got to be honest, I'm shocked that they don't have, you know, an FCS offer right now. Most of that group, I'm shocked. Right. So I'm looking forward to hearing from coaches, man, and I hope the kids hear from them. And, that's how the day goes.
We'll let you go. We appreciate a couple of minutes. Good luck today. And, you know, we see big things ahead here for Prospect New York State.
I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks so much.
Thanks for all you do.
All right, take care.
That is Mark Vidiqor, the founder of Prospect New York State. We're going to let him go and head over to, do what he's got to do today. But, Joe, like he said, this is an exciting day. This is a big day for the state of New York, something that's never been done before. And we see the athletes on the field right now. And we'll have an afternoon here. We'll be on the air till, I would say, 2:30, maybe possibly 3 o'clock, showing you the skills and drills here and try to get some kids on the broadcast and have a great day today. But this is a big deal for New York State.
Yeah, and he talked about a couple of kids individually. Nathan Carter, that 40 time, unreal. Some of the quarterbacks, and we're gonna bring you a little bit more out of each kid. We got some highlights, and wait till you see some of the highlights from these kids. Nathan Carter, his highlight reel is just unbelievable. Exactly what Mark was saying about this kid is the real deal. So we'll have highlights on a lot of these players we'll be able to show you and talk about some of the backstories, some of the things that people may not know that are not quite as important as what they do on the field, but also a very important part of the recruiting process.
We also want to have fun with you guys. We want this to be interactive, and if you go on Twitter on our hashtag New York State Power 50, NYS Power 50 on Twitter, and you keep it clean but fun. You want us to talk about an athlete. You don't think we're showing enough love to somebody from Stepinac, or you want some love from Canisius, whatever the case is, tweet us, hashtag, and if we see it, we'll put it on the screen. We'll talk about that athlete, because at the end of the day, we can't hammer this home enough. This is about the athletes here in New York. We want to give them coverage, and we want the college coaches that could be listening, watching today to learn about the athletes here. And really, Joel, we're going to pat ourselves on the back for a second. Nobody in New York can give you the coverage like Varsity Media. For those of you that aren't familiar, not only do we cover high school football upstate in Rochester and Buffalo and Syracuse, but we cover it downstate as well in Long Island, Nassau County, Suffolk County, even parts of Westchester. So we are all over the state, and we have eyes everywhere. Myself and Joel will be talking to coaches as well today, and we're just going to give you our knowledge, drop some knowledge, and learn from some of these kids and try to get them into schools that maybe otherwise a coach wouldn't consider.
Yeah, I mean, just getting them looks. I mean, and Mark talked about it. There's plenty of kids here that coaches might not even know their name yet. And if we can help with that, and Mark with Prospect New York State can help with that, then, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to, feature kids from, as Ben mentioned, all over New York State, from Long Island all the way over to Buffalo. So, there's tons of kids. As Ben mentioned, send a tweet, ask us a question or see if we can, cover a certain kid or a certain area. We're going to try to showcase all the positions, all the kids, all the areas across New York State, as much as we can. So we got a couple hours. So, let's have fun with this.
Yep.
Let's get engaged on social media and, see what we can do.
Yeah, we want to be interactive with you guys as well, and we appreciate you tuning in here with us on the Prospect New York State Power 50 live stream broadcast brought to you by Varsity Media. We're going to take a timeout as they are just ending the first session here this afternoon. I believe when we come back, we're going to have one-on-ones, and we'll try to get some coaches on. We'll try to interview some kids. So we'll take a break, and we'll come back with plenty more. So don't go anywhere here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hi, I'm Dan Villari, quarterback for Plain Edge. You're watching the Power 50 Showcase streamed live by Varsity Media.
And welcome back to Utica College. Ben Turchin and Joel Balthaser here for Varsity Media, and we've got a special guest, head coach of the HFL Cougars, John Russ. It's a pleasure to have you, Coach. How you doing?
Great to be here.
And we thank you for being here. Talk a little bit about this event. It's the first of its kind here to bring kids from all over the state. What are your thoughts when you heard that Coach Vidiqor was going to do this, and what do you think of this so far today?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. It kind of reminds me of my high school days when Nike used to put on, they probably still do a prospect camp where it's kind of invite-only list of some of the best prospects in the country or the region. So for these kids to be coming from 3-4 hours away with an opportunity to get their talents on film, their measurements, and to compete against other kids that they don't really know much about, and the best at their position, I think it's fantastic to increase their chances of going to play college football.
Now, you personally, you have one of your players here today. Maybe you had a chance to, interact with him and see how his day's going so far?
Yeah, I talked to him after the 40 and his 3-cone drill, and he had some pretty good numbers, especially at the 3-cone drill. He's a big, strong kid. Looking at the guys that are at his position, he matches up well with them physically. He's got great feet. He's a real strong kid. So far, so good for him, and looking to see what he does the rest of the day.
One of the themes that Mark talked about and that we're going to talk about all day is how many good players there are in New York State. I mean, you in Section 5 alone, you must see it on a game-by-game basis. How many just good players there are in Section 5 and in New York State?
There's tons. And I'm working with the DBs today, and just watching these kids move and seeing how good they are, I think really goes unseen for the most part in New York State. There's so many great players out here that end up choosing to walk on and then earning scholarships because then the college coaches actually see how good they are. But there's so many. I'm watching these quarterbacks throw and watching them spin the ball, and the running backs running 40s and running their routes. It's the best of the best. And if you're a college coach, you got to take a look at some of the talent that's in New York State because there is a lot of it.
I'm going to bring up a name you're going to kill me for saying, but the last time we saw you was against Ray Leach and the Batavia team. And listen, they had a great run. What was it like playing against a player like that? He's not here today, but unfortunately you had to face him in the postseason. What was it like playing against him?
He had it all. He's a big, strong kid, and he was fast. I thought we did a good job of containing him. For him only to have 180 yards against us was, looking back on it, watching what he did in the playoffs after beating us in the semis. Looking back on it, I thought we did a good job against him. However, his 80-yard touchdown run, he made, I think, everybody on my team miss, and I think some kids missed twice. And it showed his strength, his versatility, and his ability to get to the outside, his vision, and then to outrun people to the end zone. When you look at him, typically you don't get a kid that's that big with that type of quickness and that type of speed. He's a I even use the latest term, a generational player.
Yeah.
He's that type of kid with that type of ability. And quite honestly, to be able to have played him in the sectionals and do fairly well, I guess. I think we did great against him when you look at the other games that he had in Wayne and then through the states, and 6-8 touchdowns a game.
It's quite a run.
But yeah, fantastic. Obviously Brendan over there has done a great job and building that program and. But yeah, a kid like that would have flourished.
Well, listen,
like that.
You've been doing a great job at HFL too. You've had kids continue on. I think you've had players head to Buffalo and some other schools. So, talk a little bit about HFL and your program, because things are on the up and up for you guys again. A postseason berth.
Yeah, we've had several kids, especially this year. A kid that just got a preferred walk-on position at Syracuse University, our left tackle and middle linebacker, and he's going to try to play a little offensive line for Syracuse and see what happens with that. Several kids have gone to Division III level. I have a safety going to Edinburgh, Division II. So we're certainly putting kids not only on the map, but allowing them the ability to go play college football. And it's it's not just the coaches or anything like that. It's the kids' willingness to put the work in. The parent support behind the kids and the program. So right now we're trending in the right direction, and I like where we're headed.
Well, it's an exciting time of year, not only with this event, but schedules just got released. Looking ahead to this season, any games stick out that you guys are really looking forward to?
Yeah, honestly, just from today, Bishop Kearney maybe about a month ago just dropped down into Class B, and Nathan Carter just ran a 4.3840. So luckily they're not on our regular season schedule, but if we see them in the playoffs, we're going to have to come up with a very good game plan to slow that kid down. Now it's nice because it's kind of got a little bit of the old school HFL Livingston County feel to it. But we're looking forward to Batavia coming to our place this year. Newark, last time we played Newark was, I think, my first year coaching about 12 years ago. We were going up to Brockport to face them again in our crossover game. So there's a lot of games on the list. I think the whole federation scheduling, I think a lot of coaches are liking it. It kind of pits teams against other teams that are similar size, which certainly helps us because we were getting smaller and still playing in Monroe County a couple of years ago, and that was starting to take its toll on us. So sure. I'm looking forward to the whole season. Our whole schedule looks like a very competitive schedule for us. So I know I'm looking forward to it, and so are our guys.
Well, John, we appreciate a couple of minutes. Good luck here today, and we'll catch you down for football season.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you. John Russ, the head coach for the HFL Cougars in Section 5 in Rochester. Just another coach here today that's helping out. As we see, we're going to have an active area where we are because, as you can see, the footballs are coming right at us. These quarterbacks, they're all skilled, and we'll talk about them. They are unbelievable, but the routes that they're being run are coming right at us. And so we're gonna keep ourselves on our toes because you never know what could happen. But we go from one coach in Rochester to another coach in Rochester. The head coach of the Victor Blue Devils would be none other than Jeff Mandel, Ben Turchin, Joe Balthaser. It's a pleasure to have you, Coach. How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
No, absolutely. So we want to get your thoughts like we've asked everybody else. This is the first of its kind, Prospect, New York State, a showcase, a chance for kids from Buffalo to Long Island, from Albany to Jamestown to showcase their skills. What have you made of this event so far?
Well, it's great. Great opportunity for our kids, in the Rochester area and like you said, all across the state. I'm really impressed. Some people came a long way to do this, and it's been a great event so far. I know our guys, Rashon Baker's having a great time here, and guys competing. It's great. Yeah,
let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned him, Rashon Baker, number 23. I know he's hurt a little part of the season for you. He was a little banged up this year.
Yeah, just regular stuff, but still as a sophomore had 900 yards and 15 touchdowns for us, and he'll do some big things for us this year as well.
And he's here. I don't know what number he is at the Combine. 21 at the Combine.
Yep.
So talk a little bit more about him. A chance to show his skills here today. What are his aspirations? Where do you think he could wind up at the college level?
He could probably be one of our most recruited kids ever. He's a hard worker, 200 pounds, almost 6 feet. Really, the weight room this year has been his second home. And he's just a special kid, different gear. Here he is going right here. Just a great kid to coach, very humble, doesn't know how good he is, and it's kind of a good attribute to have.
He had a couple of big games in the playoffs.
Huge, yeah.
Against, I think Canandaigua was a big game for you.
Yeah, 150-something yards,
a couple
touchdowns.
Pretty instrumental in that win.
Yeah, he's like I said, just a special kid, has a different gear, and he can make a little bit out of or he can make a lot out of a little bit.
Yeah, it's fun to watch that kid run, and we're actually going to see some highlights here in a second of some of his skills. But just looking at the Victor program in general, I mean, you guys have had so much success for quite some time. What can you attribute to the success that you guys have had as a program?
The culture is great. The community is great. I think athletically, what Ron Whitcomb built, and then now with Dewey Weimer's taken over and is doing a great job, and he, Dewey's motto is culture wins. So it's across our youth programs all the way up. People expect to win, and that's what we want, and that's what the community wants, and that's what these kids want, and they work hard to do it. Like I mentioned, our weight room, we work with Next Level Strength and Conditioning, and every program of ours has to do a weight room. Golf, tennis, everybody does. It's started with Ron, and Dewey's continuing with that. It's taught in our phys ed classes, so really that everyone in the school has an opportunity to learn how to do the lifts properly, and we've seen that be very beneficial to all our programs.
We can't let you go without asking you about the new schedule in Section 5. Section 5 is moving to a federation schedule. Can you tell the football fans listening and watching right now, what does a federation schedule mean, and what is that going to mean for the schools in Section 5?
So really, there's no more Monroe County division, no more RCAC. There's no divisions anymore. It's all based on class size or school size, and they break it up into class. The double A's, the A's, the B's, and the C's, and the E's. So Aquinas, McQuaid, Kearney, they're all in the Federation schedule. That's probably the biggest change, biggest complaint that we heard. But it's gotcha.
Oh, nice catch.
By the way, Shawnee.
Good timing.
Sorry. Double A, I think, has eight teams, so their division set, the 7-game schedule. We in A have 15 or 16, 15, I think. So we'll be in 2 different divisions. To me, it's the fairest way to do it. School size, it's just all based on school size. It's what other Section 3, Section 6 do it. Section 4 does it. So we're working with, and Scott Barker's done a tremendous amount of work. Also trying to get more games, and I think this is the first step in that. They changed the practice rules, actually. Watch it. Nice catch.
Catch there, yeah.
Changed the practice rules. So after 10 practices now, you can have your first contest.
Right.
Which could add a game in the future, which we're hoping. So we and Mark says it with Prospect New York, our kids aren't any different than the kids in Ohio, New Jersey, Pennsylvania that seem to, have more opportunities and more scholarships than our kids are getting. And this is we're making steps. I think it's slow. It takes time to make that progress, but we're making steps. Taking steps to do that.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck this coming season. Thanks for joining us here again. Jeff Mandel, the head coach for the Victor Blue Devils up in the Rochester, New York area. Coach, thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
There you go. Does an excellent job for the Victor program, and Rashon Baker today showing his skills, and that's what it's about here, folks.
And I got to say, all the action right here in the corner, people are seeing it coming right at us. It's all Rochester kids, too, so they must see the coaches over here. And want to get some brownie points there.
Well, if you could see on their screen, and we might have to move our set back a little bit, that the quarterbacks here are just so good. I mean, there's and Mark had mentioned it at the top of the broadcast, but, you got kids from all over. There's Aquinas kids, Canisius kids, Rochester and Buffalo, but then you got Long Island kids here at the quarterback position. You got kids in the Albany area, in the Hudson Valley area. We hope to talk to all these quarterbacks and some other players as well. The talent is oozing out throughout the course of New York. That's what it's about, man. There's talent everywhere.
Yeah, these quarterbacks, and now might be a good time to start talking about a couple of these kids.
Yeah. Well, who do we got up there? Who do we got throwing right now?
So right now we got Charlie McKee is throwing.
And Charlie McKee really came on last year as a sophomore at Oceanside.
Oh, no, he's not. I'm sorry. He was just snapping it.
Well, I'm sure we'll see him at some point.
Yep.
But
Joe Tortello there throwing passes. But Charlie McKee, go ahead.
Yeah, Charlie McKee. I don't know if do we have highlights of Charlie McKee? Do we? Let's throw some Charlie McKee highlights up. Here's a kid from Oceanside, which is Nassau County on Long Island. He was a sophomore, set all kinds of records in playoffs, or tied some records last year. A big game, a breakout game in the semifinals against Farmingdale. 8 touchdowns in the game, 539 yards against. Not even the record on Long Island, 541 yards for a playoff game. Here's a look at Charlie McKee. He'll be a junior this year, Oceanside. Some big games from the upcoming, the Rising Junior. And I know Coach Rob Blunt, he's really excited about what this kid's going to bring to the table. Just look at these highlights. I mean, look at these throws. They're unbelievable.
I mean, this kid is quite the player. I mean, you just look at some of his stats. You mentioned his 539-yard game, setting a Section 8 record with 30 completions in a game. This kid was captain of the team as a freshman. On a high school football team, that's a pretty big deal. And you bring in a freshman quarterback, and he's automatically your captain. So that says a lot about him as a player and a person as well.
And the list goes on and on. We'll share that as well. Again, want to remind everybody, we want to be interactive. So if you tweet the broadcast and use the hashtag NYSPower50, NYSPower50. You want us to talk about an athlete here, you have something to say about somebody from your school or your relative, or you think that we need to shout out some of these kids today, let us know. We hope to hit on all of them today, but we could always use your help, and definitely make sure you reach out to us on the broadcast. We're going to take a timeout. We got a lot more to do, a lot more people to interview, so don't go anywhere. We're going to come back from the Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase here at Utica College right after this on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Notes and then let me. Technically, according to the rules of here, I can't be.
Back here at Utica College, the Varsity Media Sports Network, presenting the first ever Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase here at Utica College. Ben Turchin along with Joel Balthaser here for Varsity Media. It's a great day, a great event. Really excited to bring you all the action. We'll talk to some athletes throughout the day. We'll talk to some more coaches throughout the afternoon. But in the meantime, right now, we're fortunate to be joined by Brian Hawkins, who's from New York City, and Brian is an aspiring scout. And Brian, you've been here, you've been scouting out the players. First of all, let's get your thoughts statewide. This is the first of its kind showcase for New York. What have been your impressions so far?
Well, I'm definitely impressed. This is the first time that New York State has had something like this. It's long overdue. We know that New York State has, I think it's ranked probably 4th or 5th in the country in terms of high school football athletes. Yet it doesn't come up on the radar of a lot of top programs. You look through, ESPN, those top ratings, Rivals. We don't see a lot of kids come out of New York, and it's not because it's a lack of talent. I think it's a lack of just, respect of the state that we can play football here. And we see every single year with the NFL Combine that there are kids that just kind of come out of nowhere from schools. And I think it's similar to New York State, that there is talent here, and we need to do a much better job of promoting athletes within the state as a whole.
Now, people always ask too, and you look at some of these kids, you look at them on tape, and, there's such a close difference between what makes one kid stand out versus another. What are some of the, maybe some of the little things or some of the attributes of some of these players that, might make them stand out or make them a little more attractive for a college coach?
Well, I would definitely have to say, you got to work on your craft. Like I've seen immediately in some of the drills that There's some guys that are very technically sound, but they don't necessarily fit the measurables of what you would look for in a Division I athlete. I mean, the first thing that any scout is going to look for is, do they have the necessary, size and weight to be able to go out on the field? Like anybody, my grandmother can go out and say, all right, this is a big guy, and he's fast, but that's not necessarily what makes a great football. You have to have proper technique. You have to use your hands properly if you're on the offensive line. There are a lot of technical skills that you see out on the field that you're like, okay, this guy's a little bit small, and you kind of bypass him. But then we look at the draft, like Allen, the kid, the defensive end from Kentucky. He came out of New Jersey. He was 205 pounds when he went to Kentucky, and nobody would have projected that he would be an NFL draft pick. So, I mean, we're trying to project. The evaluation process is difficult, and I like looking at kids that are, twitchy, and they don't necessarily have the size right away, but every single year in this year's draft, people are going to try to act like they're experts, and they're like, well, you didn't see this kid. You didn't see the potential that he had when you first saw him in high school.
And that's a great reference to Josh Allen at Kentucky, not heavily recruited, didn't have the size, but grew into it, and man, what a beast he turned into. Now he's projected to be a top 5 pick. So that's a great lesson for some of these kids out here that, you might not fit that mold, but just keep at it, and, anything can happen.
I got a question for you as a football fan. Talk to us a little bit about the 40-yard dash. It's something that everybody who's a football fan knows about. Everybody watches the 40-yard dash on the NFL Combine, and the reason I ask you this right now is the early storyline this afternoon is that Nathan Carter from Bishop Kearney ran a 4.38. That's a running back. That's the fastest 40 time here today. How important is that? Do head coaches put an emphasis on that? And if you run a 40 of that speed, does it open up doors for you?
To a certain extent, there are players every single year. I'm going to pick a player right now, Myles Gaskins out of Washington. Career over 4,000 yards, broke all types of records at Washington, ran a 4.6, but there's 40 time and then there's play speed. There are guys that we know that they play fast on tape. Luke Kuechly didn't have an extraordinary. He plays faster than any middle linebacker in the NFL right now, but he doesn't run a 4.4. Right. So, I mean, the 4.38 is going to raise some eyebrows, right? We're like, okay, this guy has the 40. The thing that people misinterpret about the 40 is in football you need short area bursts. The 10-yard split is actually, in my opinion, a lot more critical for certain positions. Offensive line, especially defensive line. Mm-hmm. Guys are going to look at those things, but if he's running a 4.38, obviously that's going to check a box, and some Power 5 schools are going to come, because we know, every single year we look statistically at the number of 4 or 5 star recruits that are on there, and yes, we know that. In order to win national championships, Nick Saban, Dabo Sweeney, they get the cream of the crop.
Sure.
But there are a lot of kids here that I think are going to surprise a lot of programs if they get overlooked, that they're going to shock us later on, like, listen, we didn't see that kid. But the 4.38, yeah, of course, that's speed. But does he have change of direction? Mm-hmm. Does he have the mental processing based on the position that he plays, especially in wide receiver and defensive back? You have to be able to play fast. A guy that can be a 4.38, I'm going to name one guy for you for the Philadelphia Eagles, Ronald Darby.
Yeah.
Speed, right? If you look at the year that they went to the Super Bowl, he had he was one of the, he got beat on so many double moves, and it was all because of his mental processing, be able to read that wide receiver, being able to read his route and his stem. So, a guy can have 4.38 speed, but play speed has a lot to do with your ability to be able to process information and what's happening in front of you quickly, and that's something that I think the average fan doesn't necessarily recognize.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, we appreciate your time here today. We thank you very much. What are you going to be doing before we let you go? What are you going to be doing the rest of the day here?
I'm going to be looking at some kids that are overlooked. There's one kid in particular, Rashon Baker, who's
from Victor.
Yeah, who's got the size. And I was talking to Coach Vidiqor about it. He's like, he doesn't have any offer. I mean, he checks that box. And you look at him like, this kid physically for his age is a lot bigger than most kids that are teenagers. And I think he's going to find his way at the Division 1A level. I think he's an FCS player, and I have watched him on tape. So those are a couple of guys other guys I'm going to be looking for. Is there some offensive linemen that definitely have the requisite size. Mobility might be a little bit of an issue, and lateral agility, but those are things that you can work on in the offseason. So there are definitely some players that I'm going to be looking at throughout the afternoon that people are going to overlook.
Well, listen, we thank you for spending a couple of minutes with us. Enjoy the rest of the day, and we hope that you find some prospects here.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks
thank
for
you.
having me.
All right, thank you. Brian Hawkins, once again, a scout who's spending some time here at the Prospect New York State, hoping to find the diamonds in the rough.
Yeah.
There are plenty of them here in New York State, all over the state, and once again, it's just some outstanding athletes that we've seen.
Yeah, it's amazing. Another mention of Rashon Baker. It's somebody that Varsity Media knows very well, covering him for several years, and it's astounding to hear that no offers yet going into his junior season. That kid can play. So
we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll be interviewing a quarterback from Canisius out of Buffalo, and we'll drop you a hint. He's originally from Canada, so don't go anywhere. We'll have that interview when we come back. Having a great day here from Utica College, the first ever Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase. Back after this on the Varsity Media Sports Network. We got to do you have...
Hi, I'm Dan Villari, quarterback for Plain Edge. You're watching the Power 50 Showcase streamed live by Varsity Media.
I was like,
dude, you did great. You did great. You're on your way, man. You're on your way.
Trying to ask her. Yeah, I was actually down.
Do you want to interview? You want me to interview?
Time. I got a bunch of guys that a lot of the when you go down to the Senior Bowl, it's not only guys that are hired.
now is the time to sign up with Varsity Media for this year's lacrosse season. We offer competitive filming rates for full season coverage of your team. Varsity Media also offers action photography during the lacrosse season as well. To learn more about our services, visit varsitymedia.net or give us a call today.
I was the first guy up there. I was like, listen, I was thinking on the fly, and I was like,
Okay, a couple of things. We got to have the lower third first, Chris. We have him, the lower third. Which one?
Lacrosse season. We offer competitive filming rates for full season coverage of your team. Varsity Media also offers action photography during the lacrosse season as well. To learn more about our services, visit varsitymedia.net or give us a call today. Now is the time to sign up with Varsity Media for this year's lacrosse season. We offer competitive filming rates for full season coverage of your team. Varsity Media also offers action photography during the lacrosse season as well. To learn more about our services, visit varsitymedia.net or give us a call today. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase live stream brought to you by Varsity Media Productions. We're glad to be here and showcasing some of these kids, some of this amazing talent from around the state. And speaking of amazing talent, we're going to send you over to Ben, who's going to be joined right now by Christian Vayhue, the class of 2021 quarterback from Canisius, and the stats he's been mentioned already by Coach Vidiqor and a few other coaches. Just looking at some of his stats from last year in 10 games. 54% completion percentage, 1,700 yards, 17 touchdowns. This kid's 6'4", 210 pounds. He's already got college offers from Buffalo, Indiana, Michigan, Rutgers, to name a few, and recently visiting Virginia Tech. So very excited to have Christian here, and we are going to send it over to Ben, who is going to ask Christian a few questions.
Well, the first thing, Joel, thank you very much, is you had to say 6'4", because as you can see, I'm not 6'4", so there's a height discrepancy right here. Christian, thank you very much for joining the broadcast. Talk a little bit about what this day has been like for you guys so far.
I've been really impressed with the whole organization of the camp. I've been to a lot of events like this, and I feel like this is a really good event for New York State in general, and the coaching has been great, the organization has been great, competition has been the best part too, so I feel like I'm getting better, everybody around me is getting better, and I'm enjoying my time here.
Now, you're a guy that's been heavily recruited. Joel had mentioned it, a lot of looks, even at the D1 level. But as someone that's been around the country, these are New York players. What would you say about some of your other quarterback prospects out here? What about their skills as well? Do they compete nationally?
Yeah, of course. I feel like the competition is really underrated. I've been to camps and seen a lot of people throw, and I feel like there's a couple kids here that are definitely up to my level and like close to me. So I feel like some kids should definitely have opportunities to play college football later on.
Now, in case you couldn't tell, when Christian said organization, he is from Canada, from the Ottawa area, but you are now in the States playing at Canisius, which is near Buffalo. And then some people might be confused about your class here. So can you explain to us, are you a junior, a sophomore? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so right now I'm actually a junior at Canisius, and I consider myself a 2021 because I will reclass either after junior year or senior year. So that's still up in the air, but the reason I reclass is because coming from Canada, you have the academic disadvantage, just the whole course load and having to meet NCAA standards, and also just a year of development and to catch up to the competition. So when I go to college visits and camps, coaches want to get me down there as a 2021 and not as a 2020. So that's the reason why I've chosen to reclass, and it's also beneficial to me for the development part also.
All right, so you're eventually going to make a decision. When you do make a decision, wherever it may be, what is the coach, whatever team that is, what are they getting with Christian Vayhue?
I feel like they're getting a hardworking, intelligent player who's really going to perfect his craft while he's there. I feel like I want to give it my 110% every single day, and I want to be the best. So
that's great. Well, listen, very good luck to you. Have a great day here. Spin it. And we'll be watching your career. We're very excited. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, let's send it back to Joel.
All right, that was Ben, joined by Christian Vayhue, one of the top quarterback prospects in all of New York State. Just a very nice young man, very humble kid, and as we mentioned, college offers coming from everywhere. And once you saw the highlights there, if you see this kid in person, he can really sling it. And we personally know him from his games against McQuaid, and he put up some big numbers and some big plays against McQuaid. So we've seen him in person, and just as impressive talking to him as it is seeing him on the field.
Yeah, and he's been to the showcases. He could speak better than anybody because he's been around the country, and he could speak to the New York athletes here. And you heard him tell you that they can compete here nationally, which is pretty impressive. That's what this is all about. The New York athletes can play along with anybody else nationally.
Yeah. Can't wait to show you some of these other quarterbacks that are here too. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to focus heavy on the quarterbacks because there's many positions here, but some very, very exciting quarterback prospects here, and we will delve into some more of those as we go along.
And we also have to talk about defense, and we did mention that we want to keep it interactive. We're looking for you guys to hashtag the broadcast, tell us who you want to hear from or about, and we did get a couple of tweets about Jason Iorio Jr. from Hilton. That's a defensive line prospect, and I know we have highlights of him, so let's talk a little bit about Hilton. They're a perennial playoff team in Section 5, and Jason's a big part of that. He's a 6'3", 225-pound defensive lineman from Hilton, New York, and I do think we have some footage of him, Chris. If we could show some love for Mr. Iorio Jr. and Joel, Varsity Media covers that area. Talk a little bit about Hilton, the Hilton Cadets, and they're just a perennial powerhouse. Every single year they're in the playoffs.
They are, absolutely, and they are a ground and pound kind of team. And every year they seem to have an outstanding running back or an outstanding running game, and that's a credit to the offensive defensive lines. They're tough in the trenches. You can see this team. They're strong. They're tough. Some big kids out there, and a lot of the credit to the success of Hilton over the years comes from that line play. I mean, people often forget, just a casual fan, even like you and I, just that, everybody always looks at the skill positions, but look at the team in the trenches, and Jason, definitely one of those kids.
And let's take a look at his highlights. I mean, look, this is Fairport. That's a big-time program. They had a great year. There he is, getting to the quarterback again. Look at the pressure there. And here's just another New York State athlete that should be getting looks. Jason Iorio should be getting looks here. I mean, you see the kid's highlights. He's obviously can play football, and he's helped that team get to where they need to go. So just another athlete, and we appreciate the viewers today. Logging in, tweeting, hashtagging, that's what it's about. We want to have fun with you today at the same time that we give these kids the love that they deserve here at the state level. We'll take another time out. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Don't go anywhere. We got more interviews. We'll have more highlights. We'll show you more on-the-field stuff. We got a lot more to go here, so don't go anywhere. The Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase.
Now is the time to sign up with Varsity Media for this year's lacrosse season. We offer competitive filming rates for full season coverage of your team. Varsity Media also offers action photography during the lacrosse season as well. To learn more about our services, visit varsitymedia.net or give us a call today.
All right, Rashon Baker.
All right.
And welcome back to in Utica College to the Prospect New York State Power Showcase, presented here by Varsity Media, Ben Turchin and Joel Balthaser. And with us, a special guest, the running back for the Victor Blue Devils, and that is none other than Rashon Baker. So we're going to send it over to Joel, who's got Baker standing by. Joel?
So, Rashon, first of all, thanks for being here. Hope you're having a great time so far. We've heard your name quite a bit from not only from Coach Vidiqor. You're just very impressive, watching your highlights. What does it mean to you to be here with all these great athletes from around New York State?
I mean, it's an honor, honestly. It's a great feeling, great getting back into it. I'm doing track right now, so just to get back in the football feeling is really nice. And I mean, there's a lot of good players here, and to compete like this is amazing. And I was thankful to be in the first ever invite too, and the first time thing.
Yeah, you talk about you're running track now. There's always debate about two-sport athletes. How important is it to you to also be involved in another sport?
I mean, my mom says I'm overdoing it, but I mean, I think it's better to do two sports because, like, I do track to keep my speed up because I'm lifting and stuff. Like, not saying I'm getting slower, but like, just keep speed. Doing two sports lets you makes you more agile, makes you diverse, honestly. Yeah.
What's that experience been like for you?
I haven't really experienced much yet besides this, coming to camps like this. It's been fun so far.
Somebody mentioned earlier, Coach Mandel, I believe it was, or maybe we had a scout here earlier and said, we were talking about you, saying, no offers yet. I mean, you're still young, but what would you say to any coach out there, anybody listening out there about your game that you want them to know?
I can run, catch, I can block. I mean, good student, good kid, can do it all, yes.
Now, you guys, obviously, we're a little bit away from next year's season. You guys bring a lot of talent back. How much are you looking forward to getting back on the field?
I can't wait, honestly. I've been waiting since we lost. I remember it. It was 21-15. And it was upset finals.
Now, you guys bring back a lot of talent. Well, how are you feeling going into next season?
I'm feeling pretty confident. Really glad about our first game. Teddy Bowl against Canandaigua, big rival. So it's gonna start the season off nice. They're a good team, and so are we. So see who comes out on top.
I believe that's a Teddy Bowl too, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a great way to start the season. Lastly, you're here with all these top football players around the country, or around the state, excuse me. Have you had a chance to talk to or meet some of these kids that you haven't met before?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of these kids on Twitter and stuff like that, Instagram, and their highlights, running backs. It was really nice to meet them in person. They look different. They're just down to earth too. None of them are really cocky or anything, or mean. They're nice.
Well, we really appreciate you being here and talking to us. Congratulations on the invite, and you're going to start getting some offers because one of the top running backs in New York State. So best of luck to you.
All right, Joel and Rashon, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to give some exposure to one of Section 5's finest, running back from Victor. We're going to take another quick timeout, and when we come back, we may have the fastest athlete here today. He ran a 4.3840. So don't go anywhere. We'll come back with more right after this on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are joined now by the man creating all the buzz this morning, Mr. Nathan Carter, for his 40 time so far, the running back from Bishop Kearney, and had quite the year in 2018. Ran for 1,260 yards and an incredible 16 touchdowns. Second team All-Grader Rochester, and we're going to send it over to Ben to talk to him.
All right, thank you, Joel. And I got an athlete here that might be around the same height as me, still taller, but he's definitely faster than me. There's no two ways around that. Nathan, congratulations. You ran the fastest 40 today at 4.38. Talk to us a little bit about what went through your mind, how you prepared for that to run such a fast speed.
I felt really loose when I was running the 40. Actually, I didn't really expect to run a 4.38. I was very surprised by that, but I stretched a lot. I really worked on over the weekend and during the week a lot of technique. So I've been practicing the 40 to go up to this point. So I'm very glad that I got a 4.38.
Well, with a 4.38, you're just going to open up some doors. I mean, you're going to get, I'm sure, a lot of offers. You already have an offer. Tell us about the offer that you've received already.
Yes, I have one offer, and that's from Army West Point.
That's pretty prestigious.
Yeah, it's a good school. I was surprised. Shout out to all the Army coaches for looking out for me. But that really opened up a lot of other doors for other colleges to see me, so I'm very thankful for that.
So we're here at the Prospect Showcase. It's the first of its kind. Athletes from all over the state of New York, whereas maybe kids don't get looked on as much here in the state. What are your thoughts about that? Kids from all over the state, you're from the Rochester area, maybe not getting the looks, and by coming here today, what that might mean.
This event definitely opened up a lot of doors for us kids in New York. Like you said, there's a lot. New York's a very underrated state in football. We have a lot of great athletes, not only in the Rochester area, but also in Buffalo, Albany, and Long Island. All those great athletes out there, and we brought a lot of good athletes here to be able to showcase our talents and put it up for people and coaches. So hopefully, the coaches watching this can see and to evaluate the New York State football more than it is right now.
You were a second team All-Grader Rochester. You had 15 touchdowns your junior year. How are you going to do better than that next year?
Hopefully I get better. I'm definitely going to do better than that. My main goal is just to win games and hopefully allow Bishop Carney to win a championship. That's my main goal right now, and everything else falls into place.
No matter where you land, whether it's Army or somewhere else, what's a college coach going to get when he gets Nate Carter?
They're going to get the hardest working person they ever met in their entire life. I work hard consistently every single day. Right when I step on campus as a freshman, you're going to see the difference in how I separate myself from all the rest of the freshmen, even the upperclassmen. I work hard. You're going to get your 100%, 110% every single day from me. So that's what they're going to see.
Well, listen, congratulations. Best of luck to you, and we'll be watching you next year at Bishop Carney. That's Nathan Carter. He'll be a senior next year, getting offers already, and I'm sure you're going to see this guy at the next level. Joe, we'll send it back to you.
Yeah, we just got a chance to see some of those highlights from last year, and I'm just glad I'm not a linebacker and have to tackle that young man. So congratulations to him on the offer from West Point. I'm sure that's the first of many to come. An impressive young man, just the combination of speed. I mean, he's not the tallest kid, but you stand next to him and you see how strong he is, and then you see on tape, you see how fast he is. So a very impressive young man. And we are actually going to work on getting a few more people over here. We're going to try to bring as many people over as possible so you can hear from them. We're really glad everybody's here joining us. We want to thank everybody for engaging us on social media. Believe me, we're seeing it. So we will bring you as many kids and showcase as many kids as possible. That's why we're here.
Yeah, and we were just saying to ourselves off the air, we've been heavy in the Rochester area. So we're going to try to get some kids from, we did Buffalo, we got Canisius involved, but we have been heavy with Section 5. We understand. We're going to try to get some kids on Long Island. We're going to try to get some kids from the Albany area. There is talent all over the state of New York, folks. We are going to talk to one of the quarterbacks, Aiden Semo, who is a big-time prospect in the Hudson Valley area from Cornwell. So we want to get talking to him and a bunch of other athletes. But we have to admit, one of our hotbeds is Rochester. We've been a little hot and heavy there, so we got to spread the wealth out, right? Because that's what this day's all about. Is showcasing all the kids, so we're going to make sure that we do that.
Yeah, and that's what varsity media is all about too. We cover as much of the state as we can, and we're here, there, and everywhere. We're in Binghamton later tonight for the basketball state championship game, and we got somebody in Albany right now for the girls semifinals. So varsity media travels everywhere, and we just love what we do. There's no other way to say it.
No, it's true. You bring up a good point. Just to, if we could spend a minute on the coverage that we bring to athletes all over the state and for coaches as well, and the live stream broadcasts. If you're a coach right now thinking about needing a media partner, whether it's for filming games or action photography, that's something that we do. If you're a coach thinking, or a parent thinking about a highlight video, which is really important to get to college, That's something that we do. Big games that are in need of broadcasts, big time games that might not get the coverage. We travel all over the state. So, again, Varsity Media is an outfit you might want to consider. Back to the field here for a second. I think we're in between drills again, but you can see the quarterbacks. We're going to be able to talk to a bunch more of those. But, Joe, we were talking about it. Dan Valeri's there, number 6. He's from Plain Edge. He's from Long Island. We'll probably get a chance to talk to Charlie McKee from Oceanside. We mentioned his name. And there's some other quarterbacks all over the state that are worth mentioning.
Yeah, so many big-time quarterbacks. We got, looking over our list, we got Kelsey Carter, who had to sit out a whole year at Webster Thomas, who missed a season. He's a very impressive, had a really good freshman year. Drew Gutierrez, Jack Sharp is also here from the Buffalo area, and Joe Tortello. There's just an impressive list of quarterbacks that are here, and, we will spotlight them and, as Ben mentioned, try to get some representation from around the state, try to get some defensive players over here. I know everybody always gets excited about the offense, but there's some defensive talent here that's pretty unbelievable.
And we're seeing Coach Derek Anacino from Aquinas, who tweeted the program. Derek is a state champion head coach, Aquinas, beating New Rochelle this year, and he alerting us that Tyler Sikowski and Ulysses Russell, the QB wide receiver combination. Yeah. They've got a couple more years together. We'll see if we can get them on the broadcast here throughout the course of the afternoon. Aquinas is an exciting program year in, year out. They are just one of the top-notch programs that you can get around the state of New York. Of course, again, that's Rochester, New York.
Yeah, and they have a really good tight end, too, who's here as well.
Absolutely.
Who's starting to get some looks.
Absolutely. So why don't we do this? We'll take another timeout, a quick break. We'll come back, more interviews, more highlights, more Twitter, hashtag, social media. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more for you, folks. We appreciate you watching. Here from Utica College, it's the Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase, brought to you by Varsity Media on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Are we good?
Are we going back to? Yeah, we'll do Liam Shire. Shire, right? Yep. Shire. West Seneca West.
Oh, okay.
Liam Shire, West Seneca. But you're here as a defense or offensive player? Defensive end. Okay.
Do you play offense as well? O-line? Quarterback? Holy. Bring that kid down. So you got Grant. We don't have highlights, but All right, everybody, welcome back to the Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase. And, we promised you some defense, and we got some defense for you now. Ben is actually going to take a few minutes and talk to Liam Shire from West Seneca West, the defensive end, 6'2", 250. And we're going to send it over to Ben.
All right, Joel, thank you very much. From Buffalo, New York, West Seneca West, Liam Shire, the defensive end. Thanks for being here. Give us your overall impressions of what this day's been like so far for you.
It's been great, coming in here with competing with the best in New York State and showcasing my talents. It's a great experience overall, and just great comment to be invited to.
Let's talk about your talents for a second. You as a player, you're here as a defensive end, but you've really played all over on the football field. Tell us a little bit about how your junior season went at West Seneca West.
Personally, I feel like I could have done a lot better. As a team, we finished 9-1, but definitely had higher expectations for the season to go, but didn't make that. But still got another year, so hopefully cap it off with a good one.
What do you think the competition has been like here at this first ever showcase event? Like you had mentioned, kids from all over the state. What's the competition been like that you've seen out there?
Oh, it's been good competition. Big, fast, physical. That's what I like to see out there, and it just really showcases what New York State has to offer in football.
Tell us about the kind of player that you are. College coaches watching right now, what would they be getting if they recruited Liam Shire?
A fast, physical, great technique, hands, very driven, determined football player that will do anything to get that starting spot.
And you don't have any offers yet, but you have some invitations to some camps. Tell us about what your plans are here in the offseason.
I'm going to Atlanta next week for the Nike opening, and I'll be heading down to Cincinnati for the Adidas camp. A couple junior days at UB. It's going good.
All right. Well, listen, we wish you the best of luck. Congratulations on your invitation here today. And look out for Liam Shire next year as a senior at West Seneca West in Buffalo. Joel, back to you.
Yeah, we want to thank Liam and wish you best of luck next year. And I got to say, I made an assumption with this young man. You see the size of him. I asked him if he played offense as well, and I just assumed offensive lineman, tight end, and he quickly responded, he's a quarterback. So imagine trying to bring him down. So nice young man. We wish him best in his recruiting process and his senior season at West Seneca West, who I believe lost to their rival last year in West Seneca East.
Correct.
I believe it was in the sectional finals. So
they had beaten them earlier in the year.
Yeah.
So they went 9-1. They'd beaten West Seneca East earlier in the year, and then in the sectionals they lost. And by the way, I think West Seneca East, they beat Irondequoit, right?
They did.
They beat Irondequoit. Irondequoit had a great year. Freddie June, a player that stood out in Rochester. But, you never know. On any given day, anything could happen. And so, yeah, like you had said, a defensive player. We'd like to get some more defensive players as they come available to us. We will interview as many kids as we can and show you as many kids as we can here on the broadcast today. And right now it's a little bit of a quarterback practice or drill, and we'll try to get some of the quarterbacks as well.
Sure.
So what else you got right now? What are we thinking?
It'd be a good time, too, to thank the staff that's here, working this event for Varsity Media. The guys running the camera, there's guys out there taking photos. We got guys from Long Island as well as Rochester here helping out with this event. So, there's a lot of setup, a lot of behind the scenes, and these guys are just doing a fantastic job, making our lives a lot easier. That's for sure.
Our director Chris camera guys Matt, camera guy Steve. We've got Joe, Mark, and Sam snapping action shots on the field. We're really covering the showcase from every possible direction. So we'll take a time out. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got much more to do here. Don't go anywhere on the Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase, the first of its kind here from Utica College. We'll take a quick time out, and we'll be back with much more after this on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Welcome back here to Utica College. Ben Turchin and Joel Baldhazer on behalf of Varsity Media. If you're just tuning in, it's the Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase. It's been a great day. We've been able to interview some athletes and some coaches. And with us right now is a former athlete, a former NFL player, Division I recruit, and a coach right now, and that would be Jayou Kulkrick. Jayou, thanks for joining us today. And tell us a little bit about how this has been going on so far for you.
Thanks for having me, and thank you guys for being here. This is absolutely incredible. It's just a great platform for these athletes who come out here and showcase the talents and put on display what New York State has to offer.
Now let's talk about your experience. I mean, you played for what high school did you go to?
Clymer.
You went to Clymer, which is a small school. Was it Class D?
Class D. We were the smallest school in the state of New York that had a football team.
Wow, how about that? The smallest school in Western New York, not Section 5, it was Section 6, which is the Buffalo area, but further south. And you had a lot of success. You played, I think you won a state championship. Am I right about that?
A bridesmaid.
Almost won a state championship.
that darn Mike Hart.
Mike Hart. Oh, Mike Hart beat you, went on to Michigan. Oh, so you had some trajectory with him because he went to Michigan, and you wound up getting recruited by Michigan State, played at Michigan State. Talk to us about the recruiting process. What was that like as an athlete who played it for a small high school, but then went to a big-time Division I, Big Ten, top 25 program? What was that like?
It was a whirlwind experience because you play at a small school where you just focus on just X's and, you get out there, you play. I graduated with 26 kids in my graduating class.
Wow.
And that's including 2 foreign exchange students.
They count.
Right. So, you have the opportunity to get far in the state playoffs, play at the Carrier Dome every year, and you have the opportunity to play 13 games every season. That, projects your numbers out there, and that gets attention. And, going to Michigan State, it was just a culture shock from, interacting with people from different walks of life. I remember, I didn't know much about the game football-wise. I didn't know about, read and defenses or anything like that. And, funny story, we were just, talking about this with Mike last night at dinner. I went in the running backs room and this hey, who's the Mike back? Who's Mike? And I was like, I don't know. He's in the other room. They're talking about the Mike linebacker. And I was, I just knew I got the ball, ran with it. But, so that, it's, it was a, big transition, big change, but, I adapted to it. And, that's the biggest thing. If you go into it with the mindset that, you're not the best, you're not a big fish in a small pond anymore, you're just another guy out there trying to compete and have success, then you'll have that. You'll find success on and off the field.
Now, you went to obviously a big-time Division I program. All of these kids here aren't really possibly destined for Division I. But there's still a lot of schools that they can go play football. What kind of advice would you give these kids out here, who may not be in that Division I level, as the recruiting process goes on?
Just enjoy the process. Enjoy the recruiting process. Enjoy everything that it has to offer. It doesn't matter what level you play at. If you love the game of football and you want to play at the next level, you should be happy you have the opportunity to go, because there are some great players that play at the Division II level, the Division III level, and also the junior college level. So enjoy the process of it now. Take advantage of all these opportunities.
I'm sure it's stressful, but it's also pretty fun, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. When you come to these things, you're a little stressed, but if you're a gamer, if you're a true, performer on the field, you look forward to these things. You embrace it and you accept the challenge.
Sure. Now you've come back to coach at the high school level, if I have that right. I believe Southwestern.
Yeah, Southwestern High School.
Okay, so you're here. I don't know. Are there any kids from Southwestern here today?
No, today there's not any kids from Southwestern here. But
you're here scouting. You're taking a look at the kids. They didn't have this. Now, you may not have needed this, but for the kids here, this didn't exist statewide. So, what are your impressions of this event, and what does it mean for kids that may not have had a shot before that might get a look here today?
Oh, this is huge for kids, in the state of New York. Like I said at the beginning, this is a great platform for kids to to be a part of, to showcase their talent and show that New York State has some players in there. When I was in, we didn't have the opportunity to do this in the state of New York. I had to travel, to different states, to compete in Nike combines and different things like that. But, it's just a great opportunity for these kids. And, the staff here has done a great job, and it's just, absolutely well run.
And so for kids like, you have some kids that might have a chance of getting D1 looks. Some already do. Some quarterbacks here have, I think, a couple of offensive linemen. What would your advice be for those kind of kids that might have a shot to play D1?
Just keep grinding, because when you get there, you're not going to be the best right off the bat. There's going to be someone that's bigger, stronger, faster than you. Stay humble and be a sponge, and just continue to learn the game of football. So when you get to your respective university or college, that you're, aware of what's going on, and you have some understanding, so you're not behind the 8 ball.
Now, Joel and I are big Giant fans, so you told us you played for the Jets, you played for the Bills. What happened to the Giants? You're not good enough to play for the G-Men? I mean, how come you didn't make it to our team?
Well, the saying is when you play for the Jets, the first thing you learn is, right now we're the stepbrother in the city. So the 3 stepbrothers are the Mets, Jets, and Nets.
Right.
Everyone likes the Knicks, everyone likes the Giants. Everyone likes the Yankees. But I enjoyed my time in New York. Loved it. Loved the Jets. Absolutely loved the opportunity that I got to come back to Buffalo and obviously play and be on the active roster. That was the most satisfying part of my career, to get to play in front of my hometown.
One last question I know for me, and it's something that often gets overlooked in the recruiting process, is the parents. Like what kind of experiences can you share that these parents are going through, and maybe any kind of advice for them as the recruiting process plays out?
Just the biggest thing is recruiting's changed. When I was in school, you got letters in the mail. Now it's big on social media.
Right.
It's big on. So I would just say, the advice I would say, monitor your kids' social media, because coaches are looking at that. If you're posting content that's not appropriate, if you're, doing stuff like that, coaches are looking at it, and they're going to see. And you could lose a scholarship for that.
Yeah, we've seen that come up a lot.
Before we let you go, I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but has anybody stood out to you? Have you seen, you're a running back, have you looked at any running backs today and said, wow, this kid can play? Were you impressed by Carter's 4.38? What can you tell us about the kids today?
Yes, I was very impressed by, some running backs. There's this young man out there, he's a sophomore, and he goes to Victor High School.
Rashon Baker?
Rashon Baker, he's an absolute stud. The kid's a stud.
Right.
I'm looking forward to see what he does.
Is he a D1 talent, you think?
He's definitely a D1 talent.
He's a D1 talent.
He's definitely a D1 talent.
Okay,
yes.
Wow. Well, listen, we appreciate a couple of minutes. Thank you very much for spending the time with us today. Best of luck to you at Southwestern as a coach. How's coaching, by the way? You're on the other side now.
The most nervous I've ever been in playing anything is coaching.
Wow.
It's game day, you have no control.
Right.
So you just want the kids to go out there and be successful. But I love it. We're still pushing for a state title.
Well, listen, we're going to be following you at Southwestern, which is in the Jamestown area, right?
Yes.
It's at the corner of New York, all the way up into the corner.
Correct.
On the southern tier. So, Jayu, thank you very much for spending a couple of minutes with us, and best of luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
All right, there you go. Jayu Kulkarik, former high school player in New York, former Division I college player at Michigan State, and an NFL player as well with the Jets and the Bills, amongst some other teams. So we thank him for a couple of minutes. We're going to take another time out. When we come back, we'll have some more interviews with some of the athletes here at the showcase today. So don't go anywhere. We're coming back with Welcome back to the Power 50 Showcase, brought to you by Prospect New York State, the first of its kind. Varsity Media here today, broadcasting live from the bubble at Utica College. And we've been heavy on offense today, but we want to send it over to Joel, who's standing by with a defensive star from Staten Island out of Monsignor Farrell, and that would be RJ Batamatre. So, Joel, we'll let you take it away with this defensive star who's making waves today.
Offense so far, but we got to give the D guys some love. How has this experience been here for you today, competing against the best in New York State?
It's been great. I was able to travel upstate and compete against the best O-line, so I enjoyed it.
And you're making some waves out here, everybody said. What are some of your best attributes as a player?
I like my speed and my ability to get off, my explosiveness. That helps me in my game.
Have you had a chance to interact with maybe some kids that you've never met before, maybe you've seen on social media? I know somebody was mentioning they've seen these names, but it's nice to meet face-to-face and talk to them. Have you made any friends? Have you had a chance to talk to some people here?
Yeah, it's been great. These O-linemen that I never met before, they're very good people. They know what to do on the field, so it really helps my game when I learn from them.
Good. So you're entering your senior season. Do you have any individual personal goals you're looking forward to setting next year in your senior season?
I just want to win a championship. That's my number one goal. And also go to a great school that helped me academically and athletically. And yeah.
See, that's the answer we like to see. No personal goals. You just want to win a championship, though. These are the kind of kids you want to recruit. So we want to wish you the best of luck in the recruiting process and hope to see you on the next level.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Joel, thank you very much. There you go. Some love for the Long Island or New York City area, out of Staten Island, we should say. Impressive player. Hope to get some more kids of that nature throughout the course of the day. We're almost wrapping up here for the day. Hard to believe time has been flying by. But as you can see right now, looks like we got wide receiver, DB, and quarterbacks. We'd love to spend a couple of minutes here talking about some of these athletes and some of these players that are going up here. We haven't had a chance to do that really because we've been heavily involved interviewing the kids, which is important to do as well to get to know them. But we do want to obviously talk about the players on the field that are very important as well. As you can see, the quarterbacks are getting a couple of reps here. You can see some wide receivers getting a couple of reps here. And so we should spend some time talking about the players, Joel, that we see on the field. I just saw a nice catch over there, and that was done by number 15, Chase Rizzo from Red Jacket. You know, we haven't spent the time, which we should be doing a little bit more of, about the kids that are on the field. So, you know, let's give a little bit of love as we see some wide receiver drills. There's an Eastridge kid, number 2, Sharon Davis. He had a heck of a year this year for Eastridge Lancers, leading them to the playoffs as well. There's a lot of talent here on the field getting some drills right now.
Yeah, that Eastridge team, they are loaded with talent, and we're going to be joined momentarily by a fellow running back, Savon Van Sickle from Jamestown, who last year racked up 627 yards and 9 touchdowns. So we'll have a chance to speak with him in just a minute. But yeah, Ben brings up a good point. As we move along farther in this broadcast, we're gonna spotlight some of these players as we see them out there, and share some of their stories, share some of their stats. So we will certainly get to those as soon as we can. So we're gonna get Savon's getting all set up with Ben, and we're gonna get a chance to talk to him from the Jamestown area. So as we mentioned, Savon, 6'1", 210 pounds, class of 2021 from Jamestown. Also plays defense too, plays linebacker and defensive end. So we're going to send it over to Ben to chat with him for a second.
Well, thank you very much, Joel. Savon Van Sickle. We know you were excited about this because you were tweeting us a lot during the week. You were excited about the combine and the showcase. Talk to us a little bit about what the day's been like so far for you.
It's been a lot of competition, hard. Been out here working, grinding. Learning how things go, pretty much. Yeah.
Tell us about your season a year ago on the football field. How'd that go?
As a freshman playing on the varsity level, it was hard. It was new to me. Everything was coming fast. I had to learn quick. The competition at the varsity level was a lot different from midgets coming up. Yeah.
So college coaches are watching, obviously. You're a potential recruit at some point. What would you want a college coach to know about the kind of player that you are?
coming onto a new team, I'm always coachable, no matter who's telling me what to do. I'm a hard worker, and I'm a good leader.
Have you learned anything from some of the other running backs out here today? Guys maybe you heard about, but you didn't know, you had a chance to meet. Have you learned anything from them?
Not as much as I would have liked to. I was looking for them on Twitter. I wanted to know who my competition was coming into this camp, but I couldn't really find anybody that was a running back like myself.
Well, why don't you shout it out right now, because you're a big Twitter guy. What's your Twitter handle?
SV Football 11.
SV Football 11. There you go. Savon Van Sickle from Southwestern? Jamestown. I'm sorry, from Jamestown High School in the southern tier, they say, right? The tip of New York.
Yep.
Okay, well, good luck to you. Congratulations for being here. We'll send it back to Joel.
Yeah, we just got a chance to see some of his highlights from last year, and kid's got some speed, and we also saw some power there too, carrying defenders. So, down in Jamestown, we love to, we're trying to spread this out as much as we can. A lot of this is based on availability. We're trying to grab kids when they're available. Obviously, they're here to do drills and to compete, but we will grab them when they become available and try to spotlight some more kids from across the country. Just taking a look at some other running backs, some that we haven't had a chance to talk about, and we'll try to bring over here. We got a local kid from Rochester, Freddie Brock, who is one of the more exciting players in New York State. We'll hopefully have a chance to say hi to Freddie Brock and get some thoughts. And, looking around, we got running backs, Clarence Thomas from South Park in Buffalo, Andres Duran from Oceanside. Wait till you see that kid's highlights. That kid is he's pretty impressive. Ruben Torres from Aquinas. We got a lot of Rochester running backs. Rakeem Chenier from Monroe, who is a talented, I believe he's a sophomore, plays running back, but also linebacker, defensive back. This kid is quite an athlete. Might have a chance to talk to him too. So, the theme of the day is just, there's so much talent here, and obviously we're not going to get a chance to talk to everybody here, but it's nice being able to hear from these kids and find out a little bit more about them. And, everybody we've talked to so far, just really good young men.
Yeah, no, the talent is here, that's for sure, as we are continuing to watch the quarterbacks throwing it out to receivers right now, going up against DBs. So there's competition right here. As you see, even some tight ends are getting some looks. We still have to talk to a couple of tight ends. We haven't been able to get to all of them. Stephen Mahar from Aquinas, number 88, just running a route right there. The action is coming so fast. It is very exciting. Jalen Rose Hanna from Eastridge, another Rochester kid, number 3. He's running routes. Just look at all the talent that you could see out here. If you're a coach right now watching and you're looking at this, a college coach, whether you're D3, D2, D1, you've got to come away impressed, I would think, Joel, with the talent here on the field. Never mind how great of kids they are, because that goes without saying, but just actually us watching on the field right now, this is the best of New York that's going up against each other.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can stress that enough, hammer that home enough. This isn't like, hey, Section 5 against Section 5. This is the best of the best competing, trying to get looks.
Right, and one of the things you don't see on video as much as you do in person is speed. These kids are fast, and we're talking about speed at the skill positions. We're talking about speed on the offensive and defensive lines. Those kids are big and fast.
Right.
So seeing those pulling guards, seeing those tackles that can move, it's just really impressive, seeing the talent that's on display here. And, we're so used to seeing it, as a team that might have one or two kids stand out. Right now, we got a whole super team here. And, these kids are just – the talent level is amazing. It's hard to believe that, a lot of these kids here don't have offers yet. And hopefully with something like this and with the service that Prospect New York provides, hopefully they will get some offers.
Absolutely. A lot of these kids, too, they're all Greater Rochester, Newsday, all Long Island, Buffalo News, Section 6. These are kids that are award winners on the season, that have played outstanding football, whether it's their freshman year, sophomore year, or junior year. And that's what we keep hammering home, that the accolades just line up. We could talk about any one of these kids. I was just looking at Nasir Hunley, who's a 5'8", a 5'8", 170-pound wide receiver is number 26 today. Is a class of 2020 from Notre Dame Bishop Gibbons in the Albany area. And, 16 touchdowns last year. And he's first team all-conference, first team all-county, first team all-region. First teams go on and on, first team all-state. And those are the kind of players that are on the field today. That's what we're seeing right now.
5-year basketball player. I mean, that's another thing we're seeing is two-sport athletes. That's, it's such a big thing. And if you talk to high school coaches across the state and across the country, there's some coaches that, don't really necessarily think that's a good thing, but a majority of these coaches will just speak out and just say, yeah, we want a two-sport athlete, and college coaches probably the same way.
Yeah, I just saw Cole Benucci, number 89 from Connecticut High School out in Long Island, Suffolk County. That was a great route. Didn't come up with the ball. Great coverage defensively, but there's another player with great speed. He's going to be getting looks for sure. Cole Benucci, number 89, a tight end from Connecticut on Long Island. We're just trying to throw out as many names as we can. That's the whole point, is just to try to come up with as many names today as we can. There's 85 kids here today.
Right. And I'm glad you just pronounced his last name and his school, because I totally would have butchered that, so I appreciate that.
There you go. 6'4", 200, class of 2020, the tight end out of Long Island. We want to show as much love as we can to all over the state, because everybody's here from all over the state. Ulysses Russell, number 1. There you see him right there. Did he come down with that?
He
wow,
did.
Russell
nice
coming
catch.
down, an Aquinas product from Rochester. Unbelievable talent, and him and Tyler Zolkowski, they get to play together for 2 more years.
Right.
Derek Antonucci told us on Twitter today, so we appreciate him watching the broadcast today.
Yeah, that team is stacked with him, and then you also got the tight end as well. You just have a lot of talent year in and year out, but we look down the list of other receivers here today. We got Sharon Davis from Eastridge, who lists himself as a jack-of-all-trades kind of player, like a Swiss Army knife. That's a good way to describe him, because he doesn't have the ideal size, but, man, this kid is quick. And
how about number 29? Go to 29. Just had the speed. You're talking about the speed. I think that's Giovanni Wiggs from Shaker. Number 29, just coming down the sideline. Didn't come up with the ball, but again, you talk about speed and how you might not be able to see the speed on the broadcast, but it's there. It was a little overthrown, but there's another kid with some aspirations. Only played a couple of games this year too.
Yeah, he's almost 600 yards rushing. 3.4 GPA, so he's a good student as well. As Ben mentioned, only played 3.5 games, broke his fibula, but is healed up and is back out here competing. Look at a couple other of these kids. We got Liam Matthews from Binghamton area, Sydney High School. We mentioned Nasir Hunley, Scotty Parr. I mean, the list just goes on.
Let's go back
on.
to social media. I mean, what have people been asking about? What have we heard? Who do people want us to talk about here?
Yeah, send us your recommendations, and we will try to find them. Let's as we pull up the list here, we'll try to get we'll pull up the hashtag New York State Power 50.
Gavin Miller, I think he's an offensive lineman. He was asked to talk about him. Let me pull up Gavin Miller for a second. Let's take a look. Yeah, Gavin Miller from St. Anthony's. Here's a Long Island kid, number 62, 6'5", 290. Joe.
Wow.
Part of an offensive line this year that racked up 4,500 yards, 30 points per game in 11 games.
Wow.
Played quarterback of his 8th grade team, played tight end, but now at 6'5", 290, obviously he's well on his way as an offensive lineman, especially since he's got brothers that have played college at Buffalo State and the like. So Gavin Miller, we appreciate the shout out. You can see him right there, 6'5", 290. Big boy, and he's well on his way. Who else are we going to talk about?
People want to hear from May wants to hear about Silver Creek quarterback Austin Roth.
Yeah, I think Austin Roth was a late addition to the invite list, and we'll try to get him on the air from Silver Creek, the Buffalo area, I believe. Yeah, from the Buffalo area. So we haven't quite seen him yet pop up. I'm sure he's been throwing it, spinning it. Would love to try to get as many of these kids on the broadcast as we can. Who else we got?
We got a shout out and appreciation. I think the Oreo family. So we appreciate all the love they're giving on Twitter.
We have to represent Hilton. I don't know if we just missed a big catch. Who came down with that?
I don't know, but the crowd's a buzzing.
Yeah, that's
Let's
the first
see
time
who
we
that
heard
is
the crowd.
over there. We're seeing them coming back now. Can't really read the number, but that might have been. Let's see if we can get him to turn around. We got numbers on the back of the jerseys.
Again, you could hashtag NYS Power 50 on Twitter, NYS Power 50. And we'll try to cover as many of these kids that you've been looking for.
So that coming down with that big catch.
Here's Wiggs. Oh, Wiggs. You'll see him in a second here.
That was Ulysses Russell that got the roar.
Oh, we have somebody down. But we don't want to see that today. Somebody's asking about Batavia. I don't know if we have any Batavia players. Do we have some Batavia players today? Batavia, Buddy Briggs doing a great job.
We do have
we do.
defensive players.
We have Joshua Barber, the running back, a defensive lineman, actually.
Yep.
Joshua Barber, I think we have some information on him.
We have some highlights on him. I know us personally, we've seen him a couple
Let's
times.
Let's give him some love. Let's throw up Josh Barber from Batavia since they asked for it.
All right.
Batavia had a great year.
They did, yeah. That team was something else, and obviously Ray Leach, but the whole team, they just had weapons. They had a really good quarterback, really good defense. So yeah, we will.
He's a junior, third-year varsity player, two-way force for the Blue Devils. We'll try to get his. Do we have highlights of him?
We do.
We got. We have Josh Barber from Batavia.
We will check on that. I thought so. I thought we had a couple of kids from Buffalo here, or from Batavia here. I could be wrong.
Defensive lineman, 122 tackles.
Oh, we have Alex Rude. I believe that's who we have the highlights for, another linebacker, so we can show some Alex Rude.
Yeah, we'll get Rude up, but let's finish on Barber,
Yeah.
all Greater Rochester wrestler, 41 wins last year at 285 pounds. Very impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, so we love to get the Batavia boys on the air after their great season that they had. And Alex Rude.
Yeah, Alex Rude, again, got to see him in person, the linebacker. And he also plays running back, as we can see here. Yeah, good speed. Obviously, he didn't get a lot of touches.
Right. Now when you have Ray Leach.
No. But we have a couple defensive highlights. The kid can tackle. That is for sure. Going out of the Wildcat here. Running it around, Alex Rude. So shout out to the Batavia kids that made the trek today.
And Rude is a class of 2020, so he's got another year left. He's gonna, Leach has moved on, so I'm sure both of these guys are going to be pivotal players for Batavia next season. I mean, Buddy Briggs has got to be happy. He's got a lot left in the jar, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we got a lot more shout-outs coming. And again, we got Jack Sharp that we will mention. We got some highlights on Jack.
Sharp from Orchard Park.
Yep.
The quarterback from Orchard Park.
Hayden Brockman from Ichabod Crane. Trey Hawkins from Elmira. And we do have some Greece Arcadia players here. Thank you, Gabrielle, for mentioning that. We got Shaquem Harris, who is a pretty exciting player. We'll take a look after we see some Jack Sharp
Here's
highlights.
Jack Sharp, Orchard Park, quarterback. Pretty impressive thrower right there.
Yeah, we saw him earlier in some of the drills, and he's got a pretty good arm.
Yeah.
All these kids here have just, they're so talented, and you see him out here slinging the ball, and it's just pretty impressive, really impressive.
He was 1,650 yards, 15 touchdowns. He's got over 3,200 for his career, 30 touchdowns. Co-offensive player of the year at Western New York. Co-offensive player of the year. Boy, it looks like we're wrapping up here already. I thought it was going to go on for another half hour or so, but it does look like they're wrapping up. So what we're going to do is we'll take a break, and if this is the end of the combine, we'll try to see if we can get a couple other players, try to talk to some more quarterbacks.
Yep.
And so stick with us. Combine showcase might be coming to an end, but we're going to stay on the air a little bit longer here from Utica College, the Prospect New York State Power 50, brought to you by Varsity Media on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Welcome back into Utica College as we are wrapping up the first ever Prospect New York State Power 50 Showcase. We had a great day here. Ben Turchin alongside Joel Balthaser on behalf of our entire varsity media staff. We're not done here, folks. Even though the athletes have finished their work of the showcase, we'd like to continue interviewing and showing you more athletes that are here because, why not? I mean, that's what this day's about, an opportunity for coaches to learn a little bit about some of the kids. And remember, we'd love for you to hashtag us at NYS Power 50, NYS Power 50 on Twitter. If you want us to talk about a kid, somebody that you're familiar with, a relative, a son, a brother, or just a friend of yours that played that hasn't received too much love today from us, we want to show that love out to everybody that we possibly can. So where do we start? Who do we want to talk about?
Well, we've gotten a couple shout-outs on social media from Sam O'Hara from Brighton. So let's show the defensive lineman, show some highlights of Sam, he's wearing number 61 today, class of 2020, 6'2", 265-pound defensive lineman. So we appreciate the shout-out on Twitter. And
let's take a look at Sam O'Hara from Brighton, another Rochester, New York kid.
Yeah, we like showing these big guys in the middle.
Absolutely. That's against Hilton.
Both sides of the ball.
Coming through. That looks like Spencerport. Where is he? Coming out with the big tackle right there. I mean, these kids can play. I mean, there's no two ways around it. Look at that.
There's no doubt about it. He's got a great coach, too, and Coach Leon, who's here today.
Yeah, Steve Leon, one of the best in Rochester football coaches. Brighton's been a program that continues to rise. And as you can see here, just another great athlete for let's talk for O'Hara, and best of luck to him. But I do want to talk about this was brought up here. Another quarterback, Kelsey Carter. So Kelsey Carter plays for Webster Thomas in Rochester. He's number 11. He got hurt, Joel. That's an unfortunate situation for Kelsey Carter. He got hurt right as the season was going to begin this year in camp. I think it was a torn ACL. Yeah. And, this is a kid that Scott Duschel, the head coach at Webster Thomas, is very excited for. Thinks he has a bright future, great kid, head on his shoulders. And so we do want to talk about him, 6'3", 190 quarterback, class of 2020. Keep an eye out for Kelsey Carter this season. And we're going to be covering Webster Thomas, but keep an eye out. So we do have some highlights.
We do.
And this must have been from previous years because he didn't play at all this year.
This would be his sophomore year. He's quite the player. You saw him.
Arm.
Saw him as a freshman, as a sophomore, and you knew he was going to be special.
Now look at that arm! Wow!
And you see him here today throwing the ball. He's got the knee brace on, obviously with the surgery, but this kid can play. And look out for good things from Webster Thomas. And you saw a little bit of how much they missed him this year. The air attack wasn't where it would have been with Carter, and that's not a knock, but it's just you game plan, and unfortunately injuries happen. And we're just glad to see him back. Can't wait to look forward to seeing him play this year for the Titans.
There's another program we need to talk about, and that's Stepinac out of White Plains. They have a lot of kids here today. Stepinac, Catholic champions down in the New York City area. Great program, champions this year. They brought a lot of kids from all over positions, meant to say. You keep going. Michael Tartaglia, a defensive lineman, is here. We talked about the kid on Twitter that travels from Harlem to White Plains. For those of you in the area that don't know, that's a big drive. I mean, if you're getting on a bus, that's a big commitment to go from Harlem, which is in the city, up to White Plains. That's at least an hour, especially with traffic, rush hour traffic, just to go to school and come back. That's Cornelius. I want to get his number and share that name with you for a second. Johnny Cornelius, 6'4", 300. Can we give Chris? Can we give Johnny Cornelius some love? Put his lower third up if we have him. Cornelius is number 76. Definitely want to talk about Stepinac today. Big-time player. As a matter of fact, I'd love to see if we can get an interview with him later. They're all still talking with the coaches, but Cornelius is a big-time player, and it keeps going. There's more. Antoine Gandy Benavides. Who else you got?
We got Dominic Barbudo from Lynbrook, who that's a middle linebacker. That's a bad man.
We haven't had a chance to see him. Love to get him on as well. So many kids here. I don't know if we can hit all these kids in the amount of time that we have. How about there was one other There was one other, maybe you guys can tell us on Twitter at hashtag NYS Power 50, but there was another Stepinac kid that Mekhi Green, there we go, the defensive back, number 28, Mekhi Green, 5'11", 175. Big, who we got here?
We got Barbuda right now.
Yeah, we got Barbuda, the linebacker. We got to get the Stepinac kids here. We got to talk to them because there's a bunch of them, and they're a championship team. A lot of champions here today, too. We also have to talk to Aiden Semo, who led Cornwell as a freshman over West Seneca East in the Class A championship. He has a championship as a freshman. There's so many storylines here in the state that we just don't have enough time to talk about all these kids.
Yeah, not enough time, not enough availability because they're here to do that, to compete first.
Yep.
So, if we missed anybody, we apologize. We're trying to cover as many kids as possible, but
keep the hashtags coming. I mean, we're not coming off the air yet.
Right.
They'll break, and we'll try to, they're going to get some food or whatnot, and we're going to try to interview as many kids as we can and try to talk to a couple more coaches. Why don't we take a break? Now's a good time to take a break. We'll reset. Hopefully this will break soon, and we'll have a chance to hear from some more kids all over the state, some of your favorites, and try to get to some coaches. And before we sign out of here from Utica College, Ben Turchin, Joel Balthaser, Varsity Media. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back after this. Yeah, we are back here. As you see, the kids are wrapping up what was a very eventful day here at Utica College, the first ever Prospect New York State Power 50 showcase. There were way more than 50 kids that showed up here all around New York State. Of course, Ben Turchin, Joe Baltaser with you. We've been here all afternoon, and we appreciate every one of you that have been watching, supporting New York State football. That's what this event is about, promoting the athletes that play all over our state in hopes that they get the looks that maybe they would not have gotten previously if not for this unbelievable event. Joel, this is the first one, and I'm sure it's going to grow. It's going to get bigger. There's talks that it might be 2 days, one day of certain positions, another day of other positions. But once they get word and people have been watching the stream, I think good things are in store here for the state of New York.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this event from when it started. It's a Power 50. It was 50 kids, and we have over 80 kids here today. So it already kind of grew after it was announced, and more kids were selected to be invited. So, I mean, this is just fantastic for these kids. It's I'm so glad, so thankful to Mark Vidiqor and his staff for putting this together and being the first of its kind. Give these kids a chance to to show what they have, and as we've seen from today, they have a lot. We should mention to everybody watching too that this is a live stream, but this will be archived fairly quickly after it's over. So if you didn't have a chance to see it all, go back shortly after the event ends and watch it again, share it, send it to all your family, friends, coaches, whoever, and get a chance. This is never going to come down. So
especially if you're a college coach. If you're tuning in late or thought that the showcase was going to go a little bit longer, you can watch kids competing at all levels. We did some interviews with some quarterbacks. We'll do some more interviews. We've had running backs, defensive players. We'll try to get as much as we can. And we still want to run down some more names that we didn't get a chance to talk about before we sign off here. But let's talk about Shaker High School, which I think is in the Albany area. Giovanni Wiggs, a wide receiver at 6'1", 182, class of 2021. He demonstrated his athleticism on the field today. Nathan Radigan, we had a shout out on the hashtag for Nate Radigan. He's a linebacker, 6'1", 190, class of 2020. I believe there's another Shaker kid, Jake Notarino, 5'11", 225, the linebacker. So that's just another example of a high school that really brought a lot of kids here today.
Yeah, and as you see, they just broke. They're heading down. We're going to try to get some more players over here to share their thoughts on how this event went and their thoughts on the recruiting process, the upcoming season. It's just a lot of fun getting a chance to interact with some of these young men and really showcase their talents. That's why we're here.
Right. Well, we'll try to pull some aside. If we see anybody, we'll try to get some here on the broadcast as they wait to get some headshots. But we are approaching the end. Not yet. We're staying on the air. Don't worry. We're going to get as much exposure for these kids as possible. So we're not wrapping up just yet. But their day has come to an end, as a lot of them are taking off their sneakers. They worked really hard, and it's coming to an end.
So as we mentioned, this 90 kids. It started off as the Power 50 showcase, turned into more of the Power 90, but that's what they want. And we can't say it enough. Really, hats off to Mark and his staff for putting this all together. There's no charge for any of these kids to be here, so they are relying solely on the gracious sponsors for this event, and more than anything, putting in their time. These guys are coaches, but they also have full-time jobs. So how any of them found the time to make this happen is pretty remarkable. So, hats off to Mark and everybody involved in this great event. And thanks to the kids who took time out of their schedule to train and to be here. We missed a couple kids, cancellation. Some of the kids are playing lacrosse right now. They hit scrimmages. We're actually missing a kid from Pittsford who, for a good reason, had to cancel because he's playing for a state championship tonight.
That's a good reason for basketball.
That's a pretty legit reason.
Multiple sport athlete.
So best of luck to him. So can't wait for next year, just to see this event, kind of take on a life of its own, improve for next year. I can't even imagine what this is going to look like next year.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get some more interviews for you. So we'll stay with us. We've got the quarterback class about to approach us. We've got defense and offensive linemen getting headshots, so we will talk to some more athletes. So don't go anywhere. We'll take a quick timeout, get these athletes over here, start talking to them for you on the broadcast here from the Power 50 Showcase at Utica College on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Back after this. All right, welcome back here to Utica College, the Prospect 50 Power 50 Showcase. Ben Turchin, Joe Baltaser. We promised our Long Island folks that we would show a little love to Long Island because we're talking a lot about Rochester, New York, guys. A lot of Buffalo, but we said we got to represent Long Island. So we got Charlie McKee from Oceanside. We got Dan Villari from Plain Edge. Guys, thanks for being on the broadcast. How'd it go today, Charlie? How'd it go for you today?
It went great for me today. Just did what I was supposed to do and threw the ball well, and guys went out, and the wide receivers did great. So they made me look good.
What about you, Dan? How'd it go for you today at the Prospect Showcase?
It was great. It was really fun to get out there and compete against the top talent in New York. And I just had a blast.
And talk about, do you guys have a relationship? Had you known each other prior to coming here? I mean, two great quarterbacks on Long Island and Nassau County. Had you guys meeting before, or is today the first time?
Today's the first time I met Dan. Actually, I've seen his huddle. I've seen him. I've watched him play a little bit. He's a good quarterback. He throws the ball well.
How about this guy right here on the highlights? I don't know. Have you seen this guy? Have you seen this guy? Talk to us about this guy in the field. You broke out as a sophomore. You had unbelievable stats. What was this year like for you, Charlie?
This year was great. The guys around me, the culture in Oceanside is just fantastic. These guys, my wide receivers, my running backs, my line, they all did a great job this year. They all kept me safe, and bringing me in as a freshman is a great feeling.
8 touchdowns in one game?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that game?
You couldn't get 9? I mean, you couldn't go for 10?
That game was a great game. That was against Farmingdale, semifinal game, and for me to throw 8 touchdowns in that game felt awesome. It was, I can't even explain it. My line did great that game. My wide receivers did awesome, and we just played great.
And let's pass the mic over to Dan, who also had a great season for Plain Edge. They were the Conference 3. As we're going to look at some of your footage from this season, Dan. I know the season didn't end the way you wanted it to. You got hurt in the championship game against Half Hollow, but just talk about overall, what was the year like for you guys?
The year was a roller coaster ride. It was a blast. Every day we went out there, we were a family. We just balled out every game, and I had a blast this year.
Well, the thing for both of you guys is your careers at high school aren't done yet. And I know, Dan, we'll start with you. You probably have a chip on your shoulder. You did get hurt against Half Hollow in the championship game. So you're coming back as a senior. What's that going to be like this year? Like, you're probably training really hard. What are your expectations for next year?
Yeah, I got a totally different mindset this year. My heart was broken after that game, but I got a different chip on my shoulder and different mentality for this season coming up.
And Charlie, you're going to have 2 more years, but you have a tough battle against Freeport. They're always tough in Conference 1 in Nassau County. You guys are going to be right there, but they're the defending champs. So what's that going to be like this season for you coming into it?
Coming in, we got a different mindset this year. We lost a couple guys, but we still got the same mindset to go in there and get to the championship game and win that game, of course, obviously. But Freeport's a great team. They got a bunch of good guys, fast guys, strong guys, and they're just a great team. But we got to go in there with a different mindset and to play them and maybe come out with a win.
Before we let you guys go, talk about today. What did it mean? This is a statewide thing. You had quarterbacks you competed against from Buffalo. You had quarterbacks you competed against in Albany, and then you guys represent Long Island. So what was it like to go up against some of these guys, and what did you think about the talent statewide?
To go up against these guys, best in New York, it felt great to see how they play, how it compares up against me. To represent Long Island, it's a great feeling, and I just love competing with these guys, see how they play, and it was great.
And Dan, how about you? What did you think about competing with some of these other quarterbacks?
It means everything to us to see where we stand in New York, and they definitely got to give Long Island some more exposure.
Well, we're doing that. I mean, we're based statewide, also Rochester, but also Long Island, and Varsity Media is down on Long Island. Strong Island representing. One last question for you, Dan. You got 1 more year left.
Yep.
Tell us about any offers. Have you received any offers yet? What are you doing? Are you attending camps? What's that going to be like for you?
No official offers yet, but I've been taking some visits and getting some looks, and that's about it.
Well, you guys are going to hear about, you've already heard about him, but you're going to hear more and more about Charlie McKee. Oceanside will be a junior. Dan Villari, Plain Edge, who's going to be a senior. Guys, thank you very much for joining the broadcast. Best of luck to you, and we'll be watching you next season, all right?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Dan. Thank you. All right, we're going to go from the quarterbacks. We're going to come to the running backs.
That's right.
Out of Rochester. We say hi
Freddie.
to Freddie Brock, who had some season this year.
Yeah.
Freddie, come on the broadcast. Come say hello. Hold the microphone. Put the headset on you. Yeah, throw that headset right over you. There you go. Okay.
That way you can hear
All
us.
right, you're on the broadcast. Varsity Media here from the Prospect 50 Showcase. Talk to us a little bit about how the day went today.
The day went pretty good today. Yeah, got a lot of reps in and just getting better with footwork and things like that.
I mean, you guys had such a great season last year. You had so many weapons. You were so much fun to watch. First sectional playoff win, it says, since 2010, I believe, for East High.
Yeah.
Talk about last season and, maybe some momentum it gave you guys looking forward to next season.
We just needed to all play as a team and a family, and we just wanted to finally win the sections game because it's been a minute, and it didn't go as how we wanted to, but we still had a good season. It was
Now,
pretty good.
who's this kid with all these highlights over here? Who is this? I mean, how do you cut back like that and go for 50 yards?
I honestly I don't know.
So we got to ask you about this one. This is the one everybody's been talking about. This unbelievable punt return. What was it, 45 yards, and you ran about 145 yards? what was going through your mind on this play?
I just wanted to get to the end zone.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do. So I just did everything I could. I had to make a couple cutbacks and stride my way to the end zone.
Talk about the talent that you saw here today. I mean, there's been some great running backs. Obviously Rochester, Rashon Baker, but also running backs all over the state. Talk about that. What did you see today on the field? What kind of competition level was out there?
It's a lot of competition in New York. Yeah, it's a lot of good running backs. I actually didn't know there's a lot of people like that. Played really good though, and it was awesome though.
All right. Well, listen, best of luck to you as you continue your career, and we'll be following you. So thanks for joining the broadcast, and we'll catch you next season.
All right.
Yeah, look forward to watching you next year.
Thank you.
All right, Freddie Brock from East High in Rochester, New York, another great running back. Let's take a quick timeout. We have more interviews to do, a lot more athletes to talk to and learn about. We're not going anywhere, so don't you go anywhere either. It is the Prospect 50 Showcase, brought to you by Prospect New York State. We're back after this on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Let's go. All right, you're going to grab this. You're going to put this on. And we are back here at Utica College, the Prospect 50 Power 50 Showcase. I've said it so many times, I don't even know what it's called anymore. I'm sure I've butchered it. But joining us right here from Sydney is Liam Matthews. He's a wide receiver, class of 2020. Liam, thank you very much for joining the broadcast. How'd it go out there today?
I thought it went pretty good. Went out there and just competed, did what I do best.
What do you do best? What would you say your strengths are?
I would say my strengths are probably catching the ball and getting off the line fast.
Yeah, I mean, looking at your numbers, 100 catches, 2,100 yards. I mean, I'm not a math whiz, but I can see how many yards per catch that is, and 33 touchdowns. What makes you such a good receiver?
As we watch his highlights coming up here momentarily, take a look at Liam Matthews.
I would say just the coaches that I've had, they've been great, and they've just been teaching me. And I have a great speed coach, Trent Patterson, who helps me with my speed, and it's just great.
Yeah, you can just see the acceleration on some of these clips, really pulling away from these guys. Would you say speed is probably your biggest attribute?
I think so. I came out here in my first 40 run, ran a 4.7 and wasn't happy with that. So I told myself I have to get lower and went out and ran a 4.56. So.
Was that the one-handed catch? Was that you?
That wasn't a one-hander, but I have a couple on there.
I remember seeing one, and I thought that was that clip right there.
It's pretty impressive that you're on the superintendent's list in National Honor Society. Has it been impressed to you as an athlete that grades are just as important as athleticism?
Yeah, my parents pushed me really hard to get good grades, and if I'm not excelling in the classroom, then I can't excel at the football field, and that's just what I tell myself.
And obviously, if you have good grades, it opens up the door to tons of other opportunities, maybe the Ivy Leagues, who knows what's in your future. But if you were to play collegiately for football, what would a college coach be getting if they recruited Liam Matthews?
They would be getting a hard worker, and I don't quit, and that's about it.
All right. Well, listen, best of luck. We appreciate you spending a couple of minutes on the broadcast with you, and we hope your career is a success.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Liam Matthews from Sydney, which is around the Binghamton area, so great that we could show some love to the southern tier, if you will. And we're going to take another time out. We're going to come back, more interviews. So stick with us. A lot more to do. The kids are still around, not going home yet, so we'll stay on the broadcast as long as possible. It's the Power 50 Showcase brought to you by Prospect New York State on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And we are back with quarterback from Silver Creek, Austin Roth. Thanks for joining the broadcast here, Austin. How did it go for you out there?
I felt I had a good showcase. It started warm up. It took a while, but once we got going and throwing, I felt pretty good.
Great. Tell us about the competition out there on the field.
They got some great players, especially from the higher division, AA. The Canisius boy came out pretty good.
Yeah. Do you get to learn a lot from just kind of talking to some of these other quarterbacks?
Just watching, and then when you see a player compete just as much, you want to just compete with them. They push you to that level, extra level.
Sure. Absolutely. So if a coach was going to look at you, what kind of a player would you tell them that you are?
At my school, I lead by example. I hit that weight room about every day. And then in the locker room, I always get the guys going. Can't keep going.
Well, listen, we appreciate a couple of minutes. We wish you the best of luck, and we'll be watching you next year.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Austin Roth from Silver Creek. We thank him very much, and we're going to bring in offensive lineman from Rochester. We're going to say hello to the next offensive lineman on the board. All right, we're going to pass the microphone. Come on in. Come on right around this way on the camera.
You got to lower.
All right, Henderson. Grab the headset. And right now, let's say hello to Henderson. How do you pronounce your last name? Tamarov?
Yeah,
And
Tamarov.
hold the mic up close. All right. Class of 2020, defensive lineman, 6'4", 286. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm doing good. How about you?
Okay. How'd it go out there for you?
I felt good. I felt like I did my best today. And, yeah.
What was the competition like out there?
Oh, everybody's striving to be great, pushing each other to be the best that we can.
You guys had a good season, made the playoffs. What was 2018 like?
It was just like a start to our next year. We're expecting to win, expecting to go further.
Yeah. I mean, you guys had quite a team. I believe you only lost once in the regular season. Is that right?
You lost twice.
Twice. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like coming into this season, you guys are more prepared after going through such a good season this year?
Yes. We're more prepared, more disciplined, more conditioned, stronger, everything.
And you got a teammate here today too, right?
Yes, sir.
Shaquem
Harris.
Nice.
What did you want to get out of today? Why did you come? Obviously, it's a prestigious. You got invited to come here, but what were you looking to get out of this showcase?
I was looking to show off my talent. Like New York State, as everybody said, it's very slept on. There's a lot of good athletes here. Just trying to get my name out there.
Well, I think you accomplished that today. So we wish you the best of luck. You got more football ahead of you. Hopefully we'll see Greece Arcadia back in the playoffs this year.
Yes, sir.
All right, there you go. So we want to thank Henderson Tamarov for joining us for a couple of minutes, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take another timeout. We'll be back with more interviews. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot of kids here still left hanging around here on the Power 50 Showcase, brought to you by Prospect New York State on the Varsity Media Sports Network. All right, we are back here. We're about to almost ready to wrap it up, but I told you we would talk to the Stepinac boys, Catholic League champions this year, had a great season. We've got pretty much the entire crew with us today. So why don't we go down the line and introduce ourselves?
Johnny Cornelius, 2020.
Johnny Cornelius.
Jamel Fleming.
Jamel Fleming.
Makai Green, 2020.
Makai Green.
Quentin McCauley, 2020.
Quentin McCauley, 2020. Guys, first of all, congratulations. What was it like? You're champions. What was that season like?
We started off rough, and we just bonded together and finished strong. You know, we was in a rough patch. After 5 games, we were 1-4, and then we got it together. 7 games straight.
Now, do all of you guys commute to school from the city, or some of you guys live in White Plains? You live in White Plains? You live in Mount Vernon. So that's a commute to go to school. What is that like to go to constantly be commuting every day?
Well, I live in Harlem, New York. So every morning I wake up and go to the Metro North. I take a bus and the subway to the Metro North. I get on that. That's about half hour, 45-minute ride.
Wow,
and
that's
then,
unbelievable.
Yeah, when I get to White Plains, then go to the bus terminal and there's a shuttle that takes us to the school.
We're talking to Johnny Cornelius. Let's show some of your clips of Johnny. What position do you want to play in college?
Guard.
Okay, he wants to play guard. So you're creating a bunch of holes here during the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to us a little about your play this year.
Oh yeah, so this is I'm going. Yeah, definitely had a strong season. That was my second season on varsity.
Yep.
You know, sophomore year I played varsity as well. So yeah.
All right, let's pass the mic down. Who do we got next, Mr. Fleming? What was your season like this year?
It was amazing. It was actually amazing. Like, this was my first season at Stepinac, and like just the brotherhood and how they like treated me was just amazing. So it was the feel with it. It was just great.
All right, we'll continue to pass the mic down, Mr. Green.
Yes, sir.
I know we have some clips of Makai Green. We'll get that queued up. So tell us about the Stepinac season.
I mean, overall, as they said, we formed a brotherhood towards the end of the season, won the state championship at the end. Thanks to all of our coaches, they got us together, and we focused on the one goal, which was going back-to-back for the first time.
Let's talk about today. How was today? What was the competition like? I mean, obviously you guys are a great team, had a great talent, but did you witness some other talent? Like New York has some good talent here?
Definitely some good talent here. It opened our eyes a lot. Still got more work to do, get better for the next season.
Okay. Very good. And let's pass the mic to the last guy. Came in late. Introduce yourself.
I'm Quentin McCauley, a wide receiver 2020 class.
How'd you guys do? How'd you do today in the combine?
I didn't do as good as I hoped, you know.
Okay.
I always want to try to get better. I had an injured foot during the winter track season, but this year I think the whole team just needs to come out on the track. We're coming different next year. We want back to back to back. So the more work we could put in, the more attention we could garner for ourselves, it'll just be great for everybody.
You know, not a lot of people know about the Catholic League.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us how competitive were their athletes there? You got St. Anthony's, you got Holy Trinity, you got some teams up by you. What's the competition level like?
The league itself is just a league full of athletes. Most of the schools, they're only boys, so they just breed athletes.
Canisius. What's the school, Mineola? That's all boys.
Canisius?
Not Canisius. There's another school. I'll think of it.
St. Francis?
Not St. Francis, but I'll think of it.
I'm not sure, but I know down in the city where we're from, there's Hayes, Christ the King.
Right. Those are the big schools that you guys beat. You guys got through all that, so that's pretty impressive.
Exactly. It's just a great atmosphere of competition and competitiveness, and we always try to get better.
So I want each of you to tell me, if a college coach is going to scout you, recruit you, what kind of player would you tell them that they're getting?
I would tell them that I'm a player who's always going to work hard and put my heart on the line. I would always try to give it my best. And if I might not come up with the best result, I know next time I go, I'll definitely attain that.
Now, Johnny, what kind of player is a college coach getting when they recruit you?
A college coach, when recruiting me, is getting a hard worker, someone who's going to put 100% effort in everything he's done, coachable. Wherever you need me, I'm going to do what you tell me.
Makai?
Overall, just a workhorse, to be honest. Whatever position they need me to play, I'll play. It doesn't matter. And overall, I'll just help my team get better.
And lastly, Mr. Fleming, what kind of player is a college coach getting with you?
They're getting a dog, just know that. Like,
getting a dog.
Pretty much, like, wherever you want me at, I'm going to play it. Wherever snap, I'm giving it my all. Like, I'm going to give it to you every play, every down, every second of that day. So just know, if you're recruiting any Stepinac kid, you're getting a dog. So.
Well, there you go. Champions. All four of you guys, thank you very much for
guys.
joining us, the broadcast. We wish you the best of luck. And can we put it down now? A repeat? Can we put it down? Back to back? Back to back? All right, you're on record now. You're on YouTube. You're on the live stream. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care.
And good luck to all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so we go from Stepinac, champions. The hits just keep on coming here. We're not signing off until they kick us out. The hits just keep on coming. Let's go back to Rochester. Let's go to Fairport as we're going to welcome in. Introduce yourself, sir.
I'm Steve Condas from Fairport.
All right,
How are you guys
Steve.
doing today?
Good. We're doing good. How'd you do out there in the combine and showcase?
I felt like I did good. I felt like I did better than I thought I would. You know, it's a good experience, really good experience from what I learned. So.
What about the competition out there?
Competition's good. Like it's the first time. Well, this year is like the first time I'm playing against kids that are my own age. I've always been brought up a level ever since I was like 10 years old. So it's good playing with kids my own age and seeing like how I fare up against them.
Sure.
Absolutely. Now, did you get any preferential treatment because your head coach ran this event today?
No. Absolutely
Did he
not.
work you even harder?
Yes.
Probably.
Well, I've been working harder before then.
That's
He's
good.
been pushing me to do my best, you know, and I want to push to do my best.
Great.
Now we've been talking about it all day. We're getting excited. The schedule's released. What are you looking forward to for this year?
I'm looking forward to playing against Aquinas, McQuaid. Like those are going to be the big games. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be like our testament
Yeah.
to see if we really fare up against the state champions of AA. You know.
Got to beat the best, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Beat the best to be the best.
Absolutely.
Steve, I've asked every recruit the same question. If there's a college coach that's interested in you, that wants to know about you, the kind of player that you are, what would you tell them? If they were recruiting Steve Condas, what would they get?
They would get the hardest working offensive lineman that you would ever see. I am willing to put in any sort of work to just get as best as I can, and I'm a mean guy. I personally am an ill-willed guy. I like punishing people, I'll say. Like,
wow.
It's fun. It's really fun. That's
All
where
right.
the fun is happening.
I'd want to be the quarterback behind this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's for sure. Well, listen, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations on competing today, and we'll see you next football season.
Thank you so much.
All right, Steve, you
Thank
got
you.
it. All right. Now we're going to bring in one of Rochester's finest. This guy eats, sleeps, and breathes football. The Pittsford head coach, Keith Mullen. Coach, thanks for joining us on the broadcast today. How'd it go out there?
I thought it was incredible. Great bunch of kids, an outstanding opportunity for us to see some of the best in the state. I know there's a lot more out there too, though. So again, just a taste of what we have in New York State. I think hopefully college coaches can see that.
You know so much about the recruiting landscape. You're one of the veterans. I don't mean that to show your age, just a guy that's been around the block and knows everything. You probably forgot more about football than I would ever know. Talk about New York, because you know so much about it, the landscape, and the reason Coach Vidiqor wanted to get this thing going. Yeah. And we hear it all the time. Maybe New York is not getting the same kind of looks that some other states are getting, even our borders, like maybe New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Right.
So how important? Talk about New York and how important it was to have something like this.
Well, I think in terms of what these kids have put into football now, it's a year-round endeavor for them, even though they're multiple sport athletes. What we're doing with spring ball and summer, it is a much different game in New York State than it was 10 years ago. As I say all the time, it's not our father's New York State football. It's tremendous what's happened in my 20-year career to see the recruiting endeavors here, but the kids that can match it up. So, again, I'll throw out the academics too. Academics in New York State are hard. I mean, it is extremely difficult. So we got kids grinding in the classroom and also raising their game. I mean, these kids, they make every football team better.
Yeah, for sure. And you kind of touched upon it, how the process has changed. How has the recruiting process changed in, say, 15 years?
Well, I think what I'm excited about now, it's not one or two kids that a big-time coach can come in and see. It's, hey, we have 25 kids or 30 kids in the local area. And I think that makes it easier for, a UConn or a BC to travel up to Rochester or Syracuse. I think what Syracuse is seeing right now is like, hey, we better start looking around. Buffalo last year, the University of Buffalo, I think, had 35 kids on their roster from New York State.
Wow.
And that's increasing. One of the best years they've had. So, clearly, we're helping to support some of the best teams around, but don't discount all the great talent we have in Division III.
Sure.
And every single year, somebody in New York State Division III comes out in the top 10, even a couple years ago when we saw the top 4 with Brockport. So
Sure.
great talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Coach, we know we got to get out of here. We're wrapping it up, but we appreciate it. And undefeated season next year?
You see the league we're in? Yeah, I think it's the toughest league in New York State, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Aquinas, McQuaid joining us.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the whole thing.
Well, if you want to be the best, you want to beat the best.
It's going to be a fun season, no doubt.
It'll be unbelievable.
All right, head coach Keith Mullenich of the Pittsburgh Panthers, one of our favorites, spending a couple of minutes, and we thank him. All right, we saved the best for last, did we not? The state champion, Aquinas Little Irish, and it was because of these two guys that are going to come in. Ulysses Russell, the wide receiver, Tyler Zelkowski, the quarterback. Thanks for joining us, guys. First of all, congratulations, another state champion. What was it like this year for you guys?
I would say our season was hard because we lost that one game against Friendship Academy, but that loss made us a better team in the end because we knew we had to get a state championship, and we did it.
I mean, Tyler, talk about the pressure. When you come into Aquinas, you're expected to win championships. That's what you're rooting for. That's what you're playing for. Do you feel any pressure that way?
Coming into the season, I felt the first game I felt a little nervous, first varsity start and everything like that. But coming into Aquinas, it's kind of just like another school. I know there's all this hype around Aquinas and everything like that, but coming into Aquinas, starting there as a 7th grade and now being a sophomore there, it's the same as any other school, but a little more privilege, I would say.
I would disagree with that. I think the pressure at Aquinas is a little higher than maybe you don't realize it.
Well, yeah.
Maybe you don't realize it, but you're handling it pretty well. St. Joe's game, were you not feeling well that day? 484 yards and 7 touchdowns in that game. What happened? You were on fire.
Well, it was kind of a weird day because I had to wrap my shoulder because it got messed up during warm-ups. So I had to re-wrap, so my whole routine got messed up.
Okay.
So it's kind of a crazy day.
Wow.
I come in and I was kind of completed the first pass, and I was kind of all right, it might be a really good day.
Mm-hmm.
First touchdown goes by, I'm all right, that's normal. I usually throw 1 touchdown, and then they just kept coming and coming, and the opportunities just kept making it. And it to this guy,
right?
Freaking 185 yards.
Yeah, I was going to say we're watching his highlights right now.
Yeah.
When you're throwing it, Russell's catching it. Let's pass the mic over to Ulysses and tell us about your season. Look, we're seeing your highlights right now. Were you happy with the year that you had?
Yes, I was happy with the year I had, but I think it could have been way better than what it been. This year, it's going to be better.
We saw heard a lot of oohs and ahs out there. A couple of them came from you. What are some of your best attributes as a receiver?
Well, I would say that's hard.
Yeah.
It's not hard, but
speed,
quick.
Yeah, I'm quick.
Hands,
yeah, shiftiness.
I can catch.
Father hands.
Yeah.
Does he make it easier?
Yes, he make it way easier.
And you guys got another weapon who was here today, tight end.
Steve.
Mahar.
Who's going to beat you next year?
Right.
Nobody.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a pretty good season, the coach that we just had from Pittsburgh,
Keith Mullenich.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough schedule, but as defending state champs, we got to come in and defend our title.
Absolutely. Have you guys started getting any offers or looks from colleges yet?
I've gotten looks from Villanova, UConn, and Buffalo, but no offers yet. Just
okay.
Looks.
Ulysses, how about you?
UConn.
Okay.
He came to the same time. Somebody from UB.
Okay.
But no.
All right. Well, you guys got time. You guys got time.
Yeah.
So listen, we want to wish you the best of luck for next year. You guys will be the big dogs. Everybody's going to be out to get you. You have a state championship to defend, but I'm sure you guys can do it. So best of luck to you, and thanks for coming on the broadcast.
Hey, good luck, guys.
All right, there you go. Ulysses Russell and Tyler Zelkowski from Aquinas, the defending champions in Class AA in the state of New York. Some big-time prospects for us to end the broadcast on. And I got to say, look, we want to give everybody in our crew, they did an unbelievable job from the shots that you saw on the field. Chris, our director, was on fire. The tweets that were coming out, the videos that, Joel, you produced as well. Everybody made today a success. But really, it's all the kids on the field, and we got to see some great talent.
Absolutely. So much great talent. We saw that out there all day today, and such a great job by Prospect New York State putting this on. This is exactly what these kids need, and they took full advantage of it today, and just just so impressive seeing these kids out here.
And lastly, for us, again, if you're watching the broadcast, hey, this is pretty cool. Thanks for doing it. This is something that Varsity Media does. We produce a live stream broadcast. We could do it at your school for a big game. We also obviously film for a lot of teams in the state of New York, down on Long Island, up in Rochester. We get to Buffalo, we get to Syracuse, Westchester, Suffolk County, action photography, you name it, Varsity Media produces. That's what we like to say. We never say no to anything.
That's correct. Right.
We never say no, but we did have a lot of fun. It was great to get to know some of these athletes that are trying to get to the next level. And, again, just want to thank everybody. Sam Schmitz, outstanding job. Joe Kroecki, outstanding job. Steve Ferrandino, Matt McCower-Brown, Chris Sweeney. Even though he's not a DJ, you would have thought on the ones and twos with the way he was punching up the graphics. So if you enjoyed the broadcast, Chris Sweeney was really instrumental in that. And that is our crew. And, of course, hey, it was great. It was great doing this, man. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, this was a lot of fun.
We're going to look forward to doing this again next year. And who knows what other showcases you might see us pop out around the state of New York, just trying to get enough exposure for the New York kids and see if they can go on to their next levels in their career. So that does it for us. On behalf of Joe Baldhazer, I'm Ben Turchin for Varsity Media. Again, we thank you very much for tuning into this broadcast, the first ever showcase statewide in New York, brought to you by Prospect New York State by Mark Vidiqor. So we thank Mark and his staff for having us here, and we look forward to future broadcasts down the line. Thank you, everybody, for watching on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is right here at youtube.com/Varsity Media. We'll have many more. We have lacrosse season coming up. We'll have many more broadcasts coming your way. Subscribe to that red button and stay tuned for more broadcasts. So that does it for us. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time on the Varsity Media Sports Network.